Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. Thank you to everyone here. We appreciate your guys' time coming in. Today, the focus is going to be detailing by the numbers, which is kind of our foundational course. So if you're new, you're in the right place. And if you're not new, like you, if you have 4 years of experience, hopefully you pick up a couple nuggets of knowledge. We don't know everything. We don't want to be know-it-alls. No one likes that guy. But we've been lucky to be in the industry long enough that we've been exposed to a lot of problems. So if you guys have questions today, we would love that. Same thing for you guys on YouTube. If you've got something that's been bugging you for a while that's detail related and you feel like we can answer that question, type it into the chat and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Okay? So let's start with introductions. Take it away, brother.
All right, how you doing? I'm David Pedro with Stinger. I am the newest guy on the team. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm in the industry. I've been in the industry for quite a while. However, it's always cool to be part of a team that just basically opens up their arms and brings you in and makes you part of the family. And it makes you feel really comfortable, be able to give knowledge, impart knowledge from different aspects of the industry. I started off as a shop owner, doing details, the same thing as you guys are doing. And then I just evolved into the manufacturer side. So that's really brought me into a position where I've learned from different fields, different companies, different actions that we're able to bring forth to you. And that's what I'm here for. I've been in here for about 32 years. So it doesn't mean I know it all because I learn something new every day. Sometimes you guys run into things that I may not have run into, and it always opens a door for me to learn something else. So as he said before, if you have any questions, comments, please bring them forth because that's how we learn. That's how we make ourselves better to be able to impart that knowledge onto you.
Perfect. Awesome.
Smith.
I'll keep it brief. My name is Connor Smith. I've been in the industry basically since I was born. It was not by choice at first, but I love it, so it's kind of convenient, right? My family owned a chemical distributorship. We sold chemical basically my entire childhood, so I ran a route truck for about 12 years. Got exposed to a lot of different kinds of businesses like detail shop, body shop, auctions, truck wash, all that stuff. So that's where if you guys have a question, hopefully we can help you out. We've probably bumped into it. I did own my own shop for about 2 years, did wrap, tint, PPF, ceramic, full details, all that jazz. And then I got hired on and I've been here for about 3 years. So it's been a really cool experience. Yeah. Do we want to go around and get a little brief introduction from everyone here? If we could start with you, brother, that'd be great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
My name's Dave. Houston Detailing Solutions. I've been in the industry for about 4 years now. Mostly mobile detailing. We have a shop off of Hillcroft and Beechnut on the southwest side. So a little bit of a drive over here.
Thanks for coming.
To be here and very excited.
Cool.
Great
Awesome.
name, by the way. Awesome name.
Very much so. And do you have any questions of things that you want to focus on today? Anything that you came here for?
Not really. I just wanted to see what I could learn.
Cool. Okay. You got it, man. What up?
Open slate.
Ceramic coatings, your favorite. All right, man. Please.
My name's Sebastian. I'm with Precision Detailing. I'm originally from here, but I moved to Amarillo, and I just came here to try to learn extra little things. I've been detailing for about 6 years now.
Cool.
And I'm more into mobile detailing, and I want to slowly progress to maybe carry around more bands or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Anything specific for you that you came in for?
Not exactly. I mean, I've learned a lot throughout the years, but I mean, it never hurts to know the extra little things.
Yeah, that's why I ask you guys. One of you might have a question that someone else is thinking about or they thought about last week and can't remember now. So if something pops up, shout it. Thank you, man. Great to meet you. All right. Far left, brother.
start
That's
there?
all you.
Yeah, start on that side.
Okay, you want to keep it?
My name's Armando. We're from East Texas, Carthage, Texas. It's about a 3-hour drive from here. These are all my crew, they're the ones that help me out. And I've been detailing for 3 years as my business. Have a little more background, in the dealership side, and did that a couple of years and stopped for a while, and then came back to detailing.
Cool.
Came here to pretty much forget everything I learned and
Oh,
learn
God.
something new, or at least put it aside.
Don't throw it all away, bro. Yeah, come on.
Thanks for the pressure. I appreciate that.
Yeah, right?
Want to see what else we can kind of put into it.
Take a USB and just download it for you. Not a problem. Perfect.
Ma'am?
All you.
My name is Gloria. I'm with the Mobile Detail. Really just came here to support him, support the company,
Cool.
see what to learn. Maybe there's some things that he will listen and not know exactly what it is, and maybe I'm just saying one that I will.
There you go. There you go.
She's calling you out, bro.
Yeah.
Caffeinate. Come on, focus up. No, that's awesome.
That's great.
Pretty much it.
Cool.
Cool.
Cesar, I'm with Mondo. Been trying to get here to improve this company. I really want to help the company grow.
Cool.
Cool.
Nice, man.
Anything in particular you want to focus in on or something?
Y'all teach us how to learn more.
Cool. Fantastic.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Mauricio. I've been with Remondo for about 6 months. And I came here too because I want to learn and I want to make his company grow. If he does good, I do good.
Absolutely.
And I'm here to learn whatever I can pick up. I'm a really fast learner, so
Cool.
each try to learn fast.
Practice once you get back on the field. There you go.
I'm curious, what do you guys do the most? Sorry,
No,
sorry
go
to jump
ahead.
in. Are you guys mostly, so your mobile detail, do you tend to focus on just cars, trucks, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, cars,
Okay.
trucks, we got one oil field company. We do
Nice.
so every Thursday we're there and kind of just a little bit of everything.
You
Is it like
tackling
a
everything
fleet wash?
together?
What is that?
I'm sorry, you're tackling everything together as a four-person crew? Okay, so you're not split up and,
We got, there's times we
Okay.
split up. We got
Okay.
a truck and trailer right now that usually carries the whole crew. We got 2 guys with me right now that go with me. I got 2 guys back at the house that
Okay.
didn't come today. But yeah, we got that and our van's gonna be hopefully set up within the next 2 weeks to send a different crew out.
awesome.
Cool, man.
Fantastic.
Nice. So 2 vans total.
It'll be a van and then the truck and trailer that we
Gotcha.
Very nice. Good for you guys. You're already growing. That's good.
So we
Cool.
go to the elephant in the room?
That's right.
The
Come
big
on,
guys
bro.
from the 305? There you go.
Let's hear it.
What's up, everybody? I'm Anthony. I am co-owner of Top Tier Detailers. We've been working since 2019, and co-owner of Top Tier Detail Supply 2. We've been doing that since 2022. We are based out of Miami, and yeah, as far as being here, we sell the whole lineup, and we just want to get a little more knowledge on the line. We have a lot of cool things that we haven't seen yet, and that's kind of what I'm here for.
Nice. Thanks, bro.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We'll try and dabble in that a little bit today. You'll get more of that with the distributors tomorrow,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah. Heck yeah.
Cool. And
Cool.
then your partner stepped out for a moment, but he's
Yeah.
also here with his partner as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll chime in as he comes and we go out throughout the day. So.
And
anything
YouTube is
online?
good. Nope,
Good?
we're good for now.
All right, let's rock and roll. So this is detailing by the numbers, guys. And one of the things that I've noticed in the detailing by the numbers opportunity of learning or setting your sights on in your business is the fact that it really focuses a lot on efficiencies. And one of the things, especially for crews like yours that are mobile, efficiencies are what allow you to just work quickly, fast, effectively, okay, and get to the end result as fast as possible in the most efficient way. In addition to that, one of my focuses when I've done my classes either on my own or at other places where I've worked at before is if I can teach you an efficient way to get one more car done per day, that's just one more a day. Throughout the course of the year, typical standard year, you take 2 weeks off, whatever, so you're looking at about 250 to 60 working days. That's 250 to 60 extra cars that you're gonna be able to add to your bottom line. Think that'll make you a little bit of money based on what your average ticket cost is or ticket price is? That could really be the difference between being in business at the end of the year or being out of business at the end of the year, or just maintaining yourself to pay your bills, not really grow and scale your company. So if that's what you get out of this, I've done my job.
Totally.
That's what I think it's all about, being able to help you guys understand the products, understand the processes in an efficient way so that it just makes you more profitable, and we're gonna be able to see you in subsequent classes because you're gonna be able to come in and take some of these courses because they meant value to you. Make sense? Sir?
Yeah, sure. Well, and like you were saying, this this is the basics. So if you attend this course and our business course, it'll lay the foundation. So when you come in for the random other ones that are more specific, like headlight restoration or advanced paint correction or ceramic coatings, they'll plug into this process.
Right.
So it's kind of like anything, right? You build a solid foundation, you get really good at building a routine, so that way you don't miss things as often and you're more consistent in your work. And then with that will come speed and quality. It's hard to kind of balance the two out. You know, a lot of people want to have maximum speed and then that quality drops, but there is a sweet spot somewhere there in the middle. So hopefully we can help you guys find that. Okay.
Understanding also is one of the things that we've provided you there, and I'm sure we're going to get across into the presentation as well, is a check sheet. And that is huge as an opportunity for you to not only sell your services that the customer is there for or you're there for the customer for, but understanding it's like an interview process. And the way I've always used this check sheet is, as I do that, not only to check on myself and what I have to do on this car, or to make sure that I've done everything that it says on there, but also an interview. When you're with the customer, they bring you the car, chances are you're going to ask them, what are we going to do here? Is it going to be a wash? Is it going to be a wax? Is it going to be anything more elaborate? But it really focuses it down into being able to ask this customer a question. What's their hot button? And you may not ask them, what's your hot button? But you're going to get that from the questions, the leading questions you're asking them. This is what we're here for. Let's evaluate your car to see what we're looking for. Hey, the service that you're asking for is not going to cover X, Y, Z. That's something more. But you're going to get that and be able to mark it off on here. And then be able to do your checks and balances at the end of the day when your final check-in to make sure you hit on all those points. Because a lot of customers come in for one thing. Yeah, not just a clean, shiny car, but they have a problem. It might be a spot on the middle of the back row that they want to get off. And it doesn't matter how great you make that car look, if that spot's still there when they come pick it up, their job, the perception of what you did wasn't really as great as they thought because the spot's still there. You didn't address that. You didn't listen. You didn't write it down. You didn't make a little notation to focus on what they're looking for. And so, I've found that certain groups, without getting into anything in particular, certain groups are more interested on the inside. Other people are more interested on the outside. So, know your crowd, know your customer, ask those leading questions, and that check sheet allows you to make sure you're focused on the job at hand and being able to deliver on that job. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, and one other small thing to add to it, specifically with a company like yours that has 4+ people, right? Do you tend to do the sales? Or does everyone do sales in the company? Mainly you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the point person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you're the owner of the company. Usually you're the most motivated to get things moving, right? Keep the shop full.
Yeah, and they also help out when they'll kind of see something that needs to be done or something that needs a little more attention, and they say, hey, look, this is what's going on in this vehicle.
Okay.
Are you guys
yeah.
multiple employees or just you guys? One-man gang?
One man?
One-man gang? One-man
Nice.
gang, okay. So the
Doesn't
pressure's
apply to
really
you
on
as
you.
much.
The pressure's on you in all step of the ways. Okay, cool.
Yeah, if
cool.
anyone messes up, it's on your head. But the good thing about this sheet specifically for a bigger company, and even for you guys, right? Because sometimes you book out a job like 2 weeks in advance. I can't tell you how many times I booked a job a month later and I'm like, what did I promise this person? Like going back through my calendar, looking through my notes. So you can build a little archive with this paperwork, have the customer sign it to kind of lock in a price. And more important than anything, like David was talking about, if they have a hot button, not only are you going to remember it, but when you pass that sheet off to one of your employees to handle it, you guys probably never spoke with the customer, right? So how are you going to know what the customer wanted? So this helps you kind of convey that. You don't miss details as often, and you're more consistent. So, yeah.
If you have a folder for your customers as well, one of the things is that goes into that file. When you see that customer again, you know what you've done in that car. If you've sanded or paint corrected or anything, those notes go on there. So now you kind of sort of have an idea what has been done on the customer's car before, maybe how much paint you sanded up, how much surface clear you sanded off when you did a process on their car, where that particular portion was. And so all these notes are a running folder and a history of this repeat customer coming back to you, establishes the confidence in you why they bring the car back to you, because you have a history on their car. You're able to speak to them about this car, and keeping in mind that, you know, some of the bigger purchases that we do in life are homes and cars, okay? And a lot of times, people buy a car and they keep that car for a longer period of time or whatever. To be able to have that history for them and understand how they keep their car, what they like, you know, what kind of tire shine they like, things of that nature. That sheet is a great way and a great tool to have as a point of reference. And if you make it electronic, you can keep that on your phones or in your customer file. It's always a great thing to have as a point of reference as well. So we have a couple of guys that just showed up. So we apologize for any background noise. Sir, your name? Clevin? Yeah. Fantastic. You want to introduce yourself real quick before we go on? Because that's what we're at.
Clever, 29, been in the car industry half my life.
Sounds like too long.
Nice.
I've detailed a lot, but I've never did it in a professional way. And I've always been like, I had more to learn, and now I'm trying to take that step to where I want to branch off. I actually building my company to mobile detailing, and I just want to better my craft.
Well,
Smart.
cool. Well,
Nice.
thank you for, yeah, fantastic. Thank you for
Thank
the
you for coming
opportunity to let us do that for you, hopefully. Thank you.
Yeah, do you have any questions or anything specific to focus on today that you want to learn? Okay,
Everything.
cool. It'll kind of pop up as we go through too, right? If you see something like, oh, water spot removal, I don't know how to do that, raise your hand, we'll really get into the details, okay?
Fantastic.
Perfect.
So, let's move on.
Let's
So
get into it.
We have, I don't know if you guys were able to do the sign-in sheet. If we're not able to do the sign-in sheet, we'll have that for you. You can do it as we go along. That way it doesn't detract from the class. And then we will have certificates available for the people that are attending live. May not be able to get it to you right off the bat at the end of the class, but we will have it for you, only because there's a lot of stuff going on this week over at the Hive. And so it's been kind of crazy. And bear with us, but we will get those to you, okay? By the
Yeah, it'll
way,
probably be an electronic copy, okay?
Yeah, probably,
our
we'll
printer
print it
is
out to you.
garbage. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there.
yeah, so yeah, I just want to make sure we
Expectations.
don't over-promise and under-deliver.
Right, exactly.
So,
Perfect.
We
We've
already
done
did that today,
this.
so we've already met. There's only one guy that we haven't met from, and that would be Nick Vera from Top Tier, which is the partner of Anthony. Nick, if you can really do a quick introduction on yourself and all that cool, wonderful stuff, we'll move on.
Yeah, my name is Nick Vera. I'm from Miami, Florida. We are top tier detailers and top tier detail supply. We started off as detailers 6 years ago during COVID, and we started our supply side about 3 years ago. We're based out of Doral. We also distribute Stinger and like about 12 other brands.
But the
Dang.
one brand that, no, I'm just kidding.
Our number one brand in the store is Stinger. Our number one brand in the store.
Okay.
I am certified with them and a bunch of other companies as well. I came here today, honestly, just to learn more about the product. I know a lot, but you could always learn more.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Standing up for the 305. Now, you're from Miami, you're from Doral, he's from Miami. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. It's all good, same thing. All righty, so why are you taking this course?
Well, lots of reasons, right?
One of the reasons is money. And what gets you money the easiest way is not working as hard, but working efficiently. And that's just going to add to your bottom line once you get your process down. Okay? This is all about a process. This is very standard, and not going out there and just working on a car for the sake of working on a car and starting on the front one thing and then you go to the back end and you do something else. Once you do everything efficiently and effectively, it allows you to do it faster. Therefore, your turnaround is much better. Your profit margins are much better because you're getting to them quicker. Okay? Anything to add on that?
I guess the only other thing to add to it, and it's one of the other ones. Click 2 more times for me. Should be
Obviously,
one more.
you did the presentation. You know which
I might
slide
have
it is. No,
built
I'm just
this.
kidding.
Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. PowerPoint, it's a love-hate relationship, but it gives, a little reference. If you guys want these trainings, we can send them to you after the fact.
Yeah.
Like if you want to train your other guys, right?
And we'll have a pamphlet out with the detailing by the numbers for those attending here. I'm not sure if we have a link to it online at our website, but if not,
We can
I'm
get
sure that we'll be able to get that to you if you send the information to us. That way you can have the same thing, but in a paper format or in a reference format.
Yeah, if you guys want that on YouTube, just send us your, what do you think? Easiest thing would be email, put it in the chat, or is that a bad way to put your email on the internet? So if they want some of our materials, like the presentation on YouTube, should they just put their...
Huh?
They won't get none. I'm sorry, guys. You just see our lovely faces.
Yeah. Okay.
Our visual guy is a little...
They get everything. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the certifications.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So you guys are going to walk out of here with something in your hands, okay? Plus you're going to get something on your certificate online or email. So
Yeah.
way to go, guys. Thanks for showing up.
Yes.
You guys got one too.
Heck yeah, dude.
Bruno didn't give you that yesterday. Ah, there you go.
Rude. Now you get one in Spanish and English.
Just a minute.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. We're ready?
So basically, we talked a little bit about the money. Obviously, making money is why we do work, right? I mean, I don't know how many of you would do this for free. I do love cars, but I would never detail for free just because it's labor intensive, right? So one of the things about money and owning a business is reinvesting into the business. If you look back there, you'll see a toolbox. I don't know if you guys have ever been around mechanics or mechanic shops. How much do those toolboxes go for? Any guesses out there? Throw a dart, guys.
Yeah.
You say 6?
Yeah.
No, much higher.
Yeah, much
Depending.
higher.
If it's Cornwell or Matco, that's probably $50,000 right there.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't heard their modern pricing. I'm sure it's much higher.
Snap-on, all those. It's a huge investment, but it's that word. It's an investment
Yes.
in their tools and where to keep them in optimal condition.
Why would they do that, though? Why would a mechanic spend all that money on an expensive toolbox? Efficiency, organization, right? So it's the same thing with you guys too, where, I mean, think about it. You can go to Harbor Freight, you can buy a random orbit polisher there, and it will work for you. You know, it'll work for a couple years, it'll do the job, it's probably gonna vibrate more, it's probably gonna be louder, you're gonna be more tired using it at the end of the day, but it will do the job, right? But what's the difference between a Harbor Freight tool and say a Rupes or a Flex tool? It's going to get the job done faster, more efficiently. The tool will last longer. It can be repaired. So it's things like
Not going to
that.
vibrate on you and make you like really feel like it's going to kill you at the end of the day.
Has anyone vibrated on the way home? Like you're in your car and you're like, am I still buffing? What the heck, man? I've had that happen before, but you can get arthritis from that vibration, bro. Yeah.
Hand surgeries.
True. 2 now, right?
I'm going from the second one.
Oh,
You know,
God.
after so many years, you know, and that's using all kinds of various things. It bears down on your body. So some of the things that you do as far as efficiency is concerned as well is being able to work ergonomically. Okay, making sure you put your bodies in the right positions so that there's less stress on your body overall. First things to go on you, your shoulders, your wrists, your fingers, your hands, and your back.
Your back.
And your knees when you're going up and down on these things. So being able to do these things efficiently and ergonomically so you don't put that much stress on your body also plays into the quality of the tool you're using, the quality of the product you're using, because you're going to get that done faster, therefore not being in a precarious position for a longer period of time. So all these things play. So there is a synergistic relationship with all these things that make your job easier, and hopefully you'll see that from the detailing by the numbers portion of this, where you start to work and understand the process and then be able to implement those accordingly.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep. And there's other things of, honestly, a lot of value here. You've got your peers in the room, right? I know this doesn't apply to you, YouTube, I'm sorry. Show up next time, right? But basically, if you're here and you're with your peers, the majority of you guys are from Texas, right? Get to know each other, network. That's what that bottom image is on the left, right? So taking the time to make friends with other people in the industry rather than think of people as competition, because there is enough pie out there, everyone. You know, how many people live in Houston, guys? Too many people, right? Your traffic is a nightmare. I will give you
Speaking
that.
for the local crowd, right? But the thing, okay, you're starting your business now, right? Or you're restarting it. So are those guys actually your competitor? Or can they be an asset to your business as well as you to theirs? So if you go out there and you network and you talk and you connect, and you establish a relationship, all of a sudden you're overbooked, but you know this guy and you trust the quality of his work, you can refer to him. And it may not come back to you tomorrow, but it will come back to you in 2 weeks when he's overbooked or in the same situation. So the networking part of it is not just a matter of, hey, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so, but the fact that, you guys can collaborate together, and it actually, the competitive spirit, if you have anything like that in you, makes you want to be better. It's going to make them want to be better. It's going to up the quality of the service provided locally. And now with confidence, I can send it to Joe. Man, Joe's pretty cool. He does good work, and vice versa. So that networking isn't just a part of, hey, how you doing? I'm Joe, and I'm David, and that's it. It's all about establishing and growing that network together. Okay, industry events. If you guys don't go to, and I know there's two big shows, that's SEMA and MT at the end of the day. SEMA's great. It's beautiful. It's drinking water through a fire hose. It's a lot of information. But when you really want to get down to brass knucks, MTE is your best value. When you go to MTE, you're talking to manufacturers that are displaying there. You're talking to leaders in the industry that are training and doing training classes there as well. But you're walking around with other detailers. And it could be a detailer from Podunk, Iowa, and you're in Houston. But you know what? There's a connection because there's connections everywhere. And you might know someone that moved up there. Hey, man, go talk to so-and-so because I met him or whatever. Those are the part of networking that you see. And the best place for that, in my opinion, is the MTE show. So go to your trade events. Even if there's a local one or something to that effect, like something like this, get together with Bruno at our store and see what's coming up in the next month or 2 months when we do classes. And you'll see other detailers come around. These are networking opportunities that I think are huge for your business currently and or going into the future. All right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
one final thing. I'm so sorry, guys.
ahead.
We get stuck on slides, but there's so many good little details, right? The other thing that I noticed when I had my shop that made a really big difference is because I sold to a lot of people across automotive industries, I had lots of contacts in the sense of, like, I knew a leather guy, I knew a windshield guy, I knew a paint and chip repair guy. I had a guy that could dry ice blast the bottom of the undercarriage and repaint it for you. The more people that you know in this industry that you can connect your customer to, the better off you're gonna be, because your customer will see you as an asset and someone that they can trust, okay? So really, really take your time to get to know your neighbors, get to know the other detailers, and the services you don't do, find someone that does it, guys.
Yeah.
Because there might be a little kickback, like David was saying down the road. Perfect.
So,
Yeah.
like Carlos said at the beginning, this is one of our foundational courses. This is what gets you going into your detailing career and puts a framework where you can just go ahead and develop your process accordingly, okay? This is a proven roadmap. This has been across the industry around for a long time. It's just processes. It's just being able to bring it down to a understandable level, a focus level on what you're going to be offering and what is entailed in those offerings, whether it's interior dressing or something to that effect. There's really not a wrong way to do something. You can paint correct a car, okay? You can do something on a car in various different ways, okay? Which one is the most efficient for your business, for what the customer is paying for? And keeping something in mind, one of the things that I've noticed a lot in our industry is, as detailers, and I was a detailer as well, not that I'm not anymore, I still do it on occasion, but we always want to give our customer a heck of a lot more than we're getting paid for. We want to give them the absolute best of what we can do. But when it boils right down to it, it may lose money. And it'll lose you time because their expectation, hey, I want my car to be nice and clean and shiny and call it a day. Well, we want to make it a show car. Well, this guy's using it every day. It's not a show car. It's not garage kept. Well, what am I doing this for? So being able to realize that, and that's where that check sheet comes into play, you're giving them what they want. Okay, it's okay to do something a little bit extra, they may want water-based dressing for their tires, but you want to give them the silicone-based dressing, whatever the case is. But it's just not going overly above what it is that they're paying for. So this helps keep you in the frame of work as to what it is that you're going to deliver. Okay, or what you've come in agreement to what you're going to deliver. Fair
Yeah.
enough? And so this helps determine what it is you're trying to accomplish in that detail. Period. And then obviously it's designed where this system is not what you're going to do only, it's expandable. It's scalable to whatever it is you're going to go do. So, oh, we got to do a paint correction, that you can add on to this. This is not etched in stone. You do this and you're done. It can be scaled into whatever field or direction the customer's looking for.
Exactly. Before you hit that button,
No,
don't
go ahead.
you
I was
do
just
it.
going to ask if there's any questions so far.
Yeah.
Because I know we've
Any
been
questions?
trying to throw a lot of stuff at you. We good? All right.
Nice. So, quick question for you guys. You guys see this question up here, but when you're doing a basic detail in broad terms, what is your customer looking for? Throw me a couple ideas. Okay? Exactly. What else are we looking for in an average? Perfect. Dude, 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Come on, you got one
Yeah,
more.
you're on a
right
roll, man.
there,
You're on a
bro.
roll.
Think about your senses.
If
Think
you-
about your
yeah.
5 senses. Bro, you hit all 3.
Yeah.
Someone get this man a hat.
No. Go,
I love
go
it.
play the lotto today. You're on a roll.
You're winning, bro. You're winning. That's nice. So that's exactly what your customer is looking for. It's just like David was saying, we want to outperform. We don't need to. We just need to appeal to their 5 senses. It needs to be clean on the interior, shiny on the exterior, and it needs to smell good, okay? If we can hit those 3 things, they're going to drive away happy. It doesn't matter if the smell is going to last for 2 days, 4 days, a week, whatever. What matters is that initial first impression.
Yeah, the first
let's
impression.
call it.
The
Yeah.
first blast. Boom. Wow. Hit a home run. We're good.
Cherry, whatever you like. God, don't use cherry. I hate that smell. But yeah, that's so overplayed. Go like a black opal or something, guys, okay? We should be good, though.
Yeah. We good? Any questions, comments so far? Are we going too fast? We're going good? All righty.
We're going to do our best. We
Sounds
talk
like
a
a plan.
lot. You're dealing with salespeople, okay?
Yeah.
So prepare yourself.
So there's exactly those 3 points that you're looking to hit.
Nice job, man.
Okay. See, if I would have hit the button, I would have got there faster.
I know.
You know?
Hey, I didn't want you to hit it. I wanted to
I
quiz
got
him.
you. I got you. We're good. We're good. By the way, we
Perfect.
just met about 2 months ago, so this is all an act.
We work well together. It works nice.
Yeah.
So one more question for you guys. Between these 2 Jeeps that you see on the screen, what differences do you see? Couple? A few little differences? Just minuscule, right? I mean, what kind of paint are we looking at here? I know it's kind of small, right? Single stage,
Yep.
more than likely. Yep. Versus, maybe a 2020 something Jeep that's going to have a clear-coated paint, right? What other differences? What about the interior? How would you treat them differently?
It's one more luxurious, it's one more utilitarian. I mean, they're going to
Manual,
different settings.
electric,
Right.
you know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things that have changed with cars over the years. If you've ever detailed a classic car, been polishing the paint, lifted up the buffer, and then had that scary moment where you're like, my is did I kill the car? No, so it's small moments like that that give you the experience to understand that older paints react differently than newer paints. They're made out of different things. Older paints are single-stage paints, so they're a lot thicker, but there's no clear coat protecting the color of the paint itself. They tend to oxidize faster, which does everyone know what oxidizing is? It's when that paint slowly gets grayer and grayer, it just ages on the outside. The paint gets ashy, you know what I mean? Needs a little lotion from a detailer.
And that's what polish comes.
That's it.
If you correlate certain things that, in cars to how we take care of ourselves, lotion to make sure our skin is nice and supple and moisturized. Polish does that for car paint. So there's certain things that are we use a body scrub, that would be like a compound, getting rid of the dead layers, getting rid of the dead paint to move on into polish to make it nice and nourished, and understanding that certain polishes feed oils into the paint to make sure that they keep all moisturized and it keeps the color popping and all that kind of stuff. It's very equatable to what we use on a daily basis, or what we run across on a daily basis. So keeping that in mind, those are some of the things that they've changed. But not only is it just paint, the glass has changed. The compound manufacturing of the glass's paint has changed. Wheels, You know, it used to be like all steel wheels or whatever. Now you have the aluminum, so you have all these bimetals, and then you have them painted or not painted. What are we doing on a painted one that we're not doing on a polished one? All of these things have added to those changes. It's not just the paint and that's it. Understanding where the car is being used at and how it's being used as to why it's painted or kept in a certain way. Understanding that, like he said, the old style paints were thicker, heavier, they had to last longer because there was no clear coat protection on them. However, nowadays they last longer in theory, but when they're not taken care of, they're so much thinner than it was even 10 years ago. So when we used to do, I've done this, a similar class to this for many, many years, and one of the things we always used as a benchmark was, hey, you know, you have 7 mils, or let's just, for sake of argument, 7 layers of paint between the metal and the top surface of the clear. Well, it's not 7 mils anymore. I mean, you're talking about, you know, 4.5 to 5. I mean, it's really cut that down. So being able to understand that new paint technologies and things of that nature, a lot more plastics. There's no plastic on that car up there.
No.
There's a boatload of plastic on this one that may be painted or may not be painted. How do we take care of that? Those things have changed. Composite materials, the carbon fibers, all of these things that are new and inherent in all these cars have changed through the years, and we need to stay on top of that, not just go out there and clean a car and say, oh no, if I clean it this way, it's gonna work the same way on that car. Service might be a little different, you know? So understanding all of these things and these changes, staying up to speed or up to date on all these changes is what's gonna help you stick out and stick above the rest that are not doing that, are just going through it every other day. You know, and back in Miami, there's detailers, even if they're mobile detailers, and then there's car washers, local wachero. You know, that's, call it what it is. You know, that person, he's living off of just taking care of cars, in, out, done. The other person's taking it to the next level. That's where I am assuming we all want to be here. Cool.
Well, and understanding the difference between these two vehicles will help you a lot with your speed too. What's going to happen if you guys get water from a pressure washer inside of this Jeep? We're gonna have some issues maybe? Yeah. So where we have a lot of electronic components here that maybe you wouldn't want to get wet, here, bro, go ham. Pull that pressure washer out. I'm not even pulling my vacuum out. That whole thing's gonna be pressure washed out, okay? It'll be treated like a boat.
Remember the old Honda Elements? I love that because you just hit it and that was great. But, you know, there's the inherent problem that you could face. So understanding all these things is really cool as well. Interior seats. I guarantee you there's no leather on that seat up there. But down here, there's not just leather. There's, you know, vegan leather. There's Alcantaras. There's a bunch of different things. Understanding all these differences is what's going to help you be efficient, because you're going to know by seeing and or investigating a little further what you're going to do in there, so that you don't damage anything, so that your work is just flowing.
Yep. It reminds me of an old customer of mine. I used to have this guy named Bob. Great dude. Total redneck. I can say that because I'm a redneck. I love him. Great, great guy. But he used to steam clean everyone's car. He had like a Hotsie that he would, you know, keep in his shop. He would pull out everyone's interior, regardless of how new or old the vehicle was. He would strip it down with everything with the exception of the headliner. He would leave that. But he'd pull out your seats, he'd pull out your carpet, he'd pull out the jute padding underneath your carpet, hang it on a wall, degrease it, and pressure wash it off. And then he would actually get into the frame of your vehicle, like the actual metal base, and start cleaning that out too. So there's a million ways to skin a pig, guys. I'm not saying that's the most efficient, but in the town that he lived in, where it was a lot of older vehicles, a lot of country boys, stuff like that, where it was a lot of mud, it worked well for his process. So understanding the kind of vehicle you're working on will make a big difference, because you can adjust your technique based off of whatever the problem is. I'm gonna pressure wash an old classic motor much differently than how I pressure wash a new motor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta recognize that. So.
Recognize. There we go. So there's your toolbox. This is where you have all your things that you need for your job, so that anything that comes up, you have it. You don't have to go searching for it. Oh God, now I got to send Joe out to get this at the detail shop because I forgot this or whatever. If you have a toolbox that is stocked, that is always viewed at the end of the day to make sure you're not low on anything or you're missing anything and you can replace it for your next day of work. That's where you want to be. Make sure your toolbox is stocked and ready to go at any and all times. So that means in your cases, you're going to end up having 2 vehicles, Armando. You're going to have the same thing in your big truck, and you're going to have maybe a smaller toolbox, but with everything in it as well in your smaller one, so that you're not going back and forth. Hey, Armando, I forgot this. Oh, come over to my truck and pick it up or whatever. Now you just lost all the efficiency and time. So have everything stocked the same. Have 2 detail carts if you're able to. If you're especially if you're in a shop situation, like you guys are down there, you have a shop. Keep 2 carts stocked exactly the same on each side of the car. Mm-hmm. Now you don't have to go back and forth to them. Once you go to the other side, you don't have to worry about that when you got the same thing in here. Mm-hmm. And that way everything just flows. Just little things that, we try to explain that just makes your life easier and hopefully makes not only your job easier, but allows you to spend less time doing it and making more money at it and doing the same kind of quality.
Mm-hmm. I was going to throw out there too, that's why we made these guys. So I don't know if you guys have seen our detail mixing stations, but if you're a mobile detailer or a guy that has a shop, having this in there where you can literally walk up, say this is glass cleaner, you got your dressing, you can walk up, it's already pre-titrated is what we called it, but
it's titrated, or it disposes usable product in its form. So
Yes.
it's not ready. It's going to be ready to use, but you're going to be storing in there the concentrate, and then once you hit that button and you hook it up to your water supply, it will give you the actual diluted product that you're going to be using, and it's just going to be able to make you more profitable. It's going to be able to help you not spend as much money on material, and material is not the most expensive thing you have, guys. I know that a lot of detailers look at, my product costs. When you're using it correctly, that is probably the least amount of money that you're going to spend. It's all about your time. So you can get that, and you don't have to go and do the whole beaker thing, and you can just go press a button, not even think twice about it. It's already pre-done for you. It makes you that much more able to get the job done faster, quicker. At the end of the day or at the end of the job, refill all your bottles. They're always going to come out the same. You don't have to be dumping one out. And dilution, it's always going to be the same dilution. And that is another thing to become profitable and or margin-wise.
friendly, yes.
Margin-wise.
Yeah, we want you guys to make as much money as possible. We may be salespeople, but in the same way that you guys were saying you want your boss's business to be successful because it helps you, if we can help you guys be successful and profitable, you'll keep coming back to us. So this is a mutually beneficial relationship. We try and make product that is strong, that dilutes well for you guys, and also that you guys don't have to pay an arm and a leg for. If you get some of the stuff from overseas, you'll be paying $50 for a liter of product.
35 of which is shipping. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, tariffs, shipping, all those things. So we want you guys to be successful, and this product line with 300 plus products is how we do it. And then we provide the training for free on the back end. So yeah, give her a click. All right, let's talk about it. Do you want me to? I'll take it away, bro. Sorry, I feel like you keep taking the beginning, and I'm making you do all the talking.
No, it's okay. It's all good.
So chemicals, pH scale. Is everyone familiar with the pH scale? Okay. So the basics of it, guys, it's important to understand because it will kind of direct you on what chemical to use on what surface, okay? So acids, quick little quiz for you guys. Where do we tend to use acid? Wheels, okay. What are wheels made of? Metal, okay. What is paint made of? Could be plastic, could be, there's a few other sources, right? So, but when we're using it on paint, usually what we're trying to do is use it to remove mineral, like water spots, right? Or maybe oxidation, something along those lines. So the low end of the pH scale tends to work on your minerals, on your solids, your inorganic type stuff. Typically, it won't be used on the interior. I would really hope you don't. But there are a few exceptions to that rule, so we can't call it a law. Neutrals, those tend to be the soaps. Maybe some of your all-purpose cleaners will be somewhere in the middle there. Some of your stain removers. Really all it means is that they're very gentle on surfaces. Typically all we're looking for in a soap is a lot of suds and a good amount of lubrication, right? Because that way it'll lift stuff off the surface and it prevents scratching, or at least as much as we can with just the soap. And then when you get to the high end of the pH scale, which is alkaline, those are going to be like your heavy degreasers, your high pH wheel cleaners. They tend to be very aggressive, but they're definitely safer to use than acids in a lot of cases, okay? It's a lot harder to burn a wheel, in my opinion, with a high pH than it is a low pH.
Yeah.
So, and once you understand this pH scale, you'll learn that if you ever use an acid, you always have to follow it with an alkaline product, okay? Acids will keep eating every time they get water on them. So if you put acid on a wheel, spray it off with water, don't rinse it very well, the next time it gets wet, it'll start to eat a little bit again, okay? But we can stop that process by putting on like an all-purpose cleaner or a degreaser, and it'll neutralize it out, okay? Any questions about the pH scale?
One thing to actually notice about the pH scale as well, and I think it's something that is hugely important. So you take a look at, you go from 0 to 14. Not taking any particular number in anything, but the difference between let's just say, the difference between a 4 and a 5 is huge. Okay, it's not just, oh, I went from a 4 to a 5. There's a huge gap in the pH strength, so to speak, for lack of a better word, between a 4 and a 5, between any number. Okay, and it gets exponentially greater. So if you go from 0 to 1, just for the sake of giggle, it's 100 times stronger. You go from 0 to 2. Everything is exponential, so you need to make sure you keep that in mind. And one of the things that he mentioned about the neutralizing, it's exactly what you want to make sure, that you're counteracting the result or the action of one with the other, and that's what's going to help you stay on the safe side. So understand that there's a gap between each level, and that's just a good frame of mind to keep an eye on.
Yeah, literally 10 times stronger every time you move one direction.
Yeah, so from 0 to 14, it's a lot stronger. So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind.
Yep, exactly.
Questions? Cool.
Okay.
Good crowd.
Nice.
Good crowd. So this is your,
Well, this is just the
Yeah.
basic classes of chemicals, guys.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you some of the basics. Solvents, typically that's used on inorganic things, typically sticky things like tar, tree sap, road paint, things along those lines. If it's an oil-based like paint, solvent is usually the way to attack it too, okay? There's a couple different kinds of solvents. We won't get into the nitty-gritty, but typically you've got your citrus solvents, and then you've got your normal solvents, kind of like lacquer thinner or MEK, stuff like that, that can be very, very aggressive, okay? Citrus is a little bit lighter. The other ones are very strong. Butyl and alkaline, we already talked about that. That's the high end of the pH scale. That's going to be your degreasers, your cleaners. Typically works best on things like mud, dirt, soils, stuff like that. Alcohol, honestly, it's become more and more important as the years have gone on in the detail industry. Not only do we use it in things like our glass cleaners, but we also need this in surface prep for ceramic coatings. If you don't use alcohol in the surface prep, you're going to leave behind oils and fingerprints, and it won't let it adhere properly, okay?
in addition to the final testing, so if you're paint correcting, whatever, and when you want to see the true finish that you gave that car when you were paint correcting, okay, an alcohol wipe is a great way to determine that because it cleans off anything that could have filled any of those scratches, okay, and it allows you to see a clean surface. Sometimes you will get a little bit of a film, but that is not a film that is going to be an adherence to what you're trying to accomplish. It's just the natural effect of the actual product evaporating. But alcohol is just become more prevalent than not. It's a cheaper alternative for some of the guys to go out there and, oh, I'm just going to go buy an adhesive remover or whatever. The alcohol is just a much easier, more accessible way of doing it. Okay, so by the way, I apologize when I say guys, and I forget to include ladies as well.
Sorry about that. It's
just
built in, I promise.
Yeah. It's just a course of action. I apologize. Nothing bad about it. So as we move on, There are other cleaners like the ammonias, the enzymes, the acids. One of the things that you'll see is that these are just really weird because the ammonia ones they could throw you a curveball by not understanding how they work or what it does, okay? How does it act? It acts like a degreaser, so it's a grease cutter, much more so. The enzymes is one of the ones I like the most because those are the ones that really work in such a cool way that actually eliminate odors and things of that nature because it attaches themselves to the surface, okay? It's not just a perfume. So, you know, a lot of times when they use a perfume or, you know, any kind of a scent, it's just a mask, whereas an enzyme is designed to more remove that, okay, by adhering itself to that and encapsulating it. And that's I kind of like those a lot better. They're more expensive to use than a perfume, but they're so much more effective because chances are that it's not going to be gone away in 2 days, depending on the odor source and how you attach it. So that's just me on one of those things. The other one is the acids. Those are real fun because those will really throw you a curveball if you use them wrong and if you don't neutralize them, okay? Understanding how to work, what you're going to use on a polished aluminum wheel as opposed to a wheel that is, or just a straight chrome wheel, two different things, okay? You can use that all day long on a chrome wheel. You're not going to use anything outside of soap and water on a polished aluminum wheel. So even though some of the writing, a lot of times it kind of confuses people, understanding your acids is very, very important. And understanding that whenever you use an acid, you want to have an all-purpose cleaner or an alkaline-based product literally right alongside you, you can neutralize that because you don't want to let those things set. Understanding that some of the makeup of some of these products are a composition that allow it to, when water hits it, it changes that product completely. So if you're using something like an ammonium bifluoride, yeah, it's an ammonium bifluoride, but once you hit it with water, that's now a hydrofluoric acid or a hydrochloric acid. And all of a sudden, that just changes the whole thing. So understanding some of these products, these will throw you a curveball, so I like to concentrate a lot more on these because these can really set you up for failure if you don't understand them. So be very, very cautious and very aware of your acids that you use in your business, okay? Another thing is always get the SDS sheets from whatever manufacturer of whatever products you're using. Always, always. There's like no way about it. You have to get that for every single product you have because it will tell you how to take care of that product. Should it make contact with your skin if you're not using the proper PPE, something that we're really, really huge on, and as we get further along into this, you'll see me or Connor refer to this all the time, okay? Very, very important. One of the things to keep in mind about acids, like you said before, will eat up layers of that surface. Microscopically, but it will be doing that. So being aware of that acid content on that product is very, very important and very, very huge to keep you from doing more damage than what was brought to you initially to take care of. Okay? Does that make any sense? We good? Anything else you got to touch on?
There'll be more down the road. Yeah, all good.
I guess you'll pick and choose then, huh?
Okay, I already know what the slides are, so
that's all
I
good,
know
man.
what's coming.
Yeah. I'm learning the presentation as we go along here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're a great
Here we go, microfibers, here we go.
Totally.
We'll swap back and forth, how's that?
So microfibers, guys, it's just another tool in your tool bag, right? We all use them on a daily basis. If you're still using cotton towels, making the switch to microfiber is a huge game changer because they're way more absorbent, they don't push things around, and they have hairs. Actually, if you look at this right here, that is the tip of a microfiber hair under a microscope, okay? That's kind of how they, I don't know, squeeze them out. Because it's all made out of plastic, guys.
Yeah.
That's what microfiber is.
Yeah, how
okay?
it envelops it.
Right.
So when you're removing wax, for example, we can all picture wax, okay? So when you put your wax on, then you let it set, then it's got that film, you're gonna remove that. When you run a microfiber towel over that to remove it, it literally is wrapping that lint or that residue into itself. It's bringing it into itself, therefore keeping it off the surface, minimizing scratching, cleaning up better, cleaning up more efficiently. Cotton terry towels, when they're 100% cotton, There's a huge difference between a cotton terry cloth towel and a 100% cotton terry cloth towel, okay? It was the go-to before microfibers came into play. And it was the best way to remove these things because it helped keep it off the surface. But at the end of the day, microscopically, it pushed things around much more so than lifted them up. Therefore, it could cause more scratches. That's why the microfiber is the way to go now, and you'll see it on everything. I mean, hell, you're probably sitting on it in your car now. You know, if you have Alcantara, you look like a microfiber. All of these things are that, it's all polyester. At the end of the day, it's exactly what it is. So it's kind of really interesting how they've been able to do that. But to be able to fray those fibers and bringing into themselves, it's like little tiny hands or fingers that bring it into itself. Does that make any sense? Cool. I'm sorry.
No, you're golden. We've actually got a question from YouTube. So this is from Notorious Films. I currently use purple pre-soak 509 on mud flaps and dirty tires on RVs, but I run into problems of staining concrete pad at the RV parks. Would 519 be a better option? So that's a really good question. There's a couple things that are possibly going on there. A lot of that staining and what might be happening, it's probably not happening from the chemical, man. It's probably happening because those tires are super disgusting and it's got that lot rot that we call it, right? That gets extracted out of the rubber, it falls onto the ground, and if you don't rinse it quick enough, it will etch into it. So I would say body tire and wheel, I love it for almost every surface now.
That's just an awesome do-all product.
It is fantastic. But the nice thing about it is it foams up, it'll stay on the surface longer, and that foam, as it falls on the concrete, maybe will help keep that dirt off of the concrete a little bit longer. Maybe it'll give you more working time, but it's all about that final rinse. Once you're done with the wheel and the wheel well, blast the concrete.
The other thing is if that tire was dressed or whatever, you don't know what was dressed on it, that product is taking that off and it's laying it down in there. Keeping in mind you got two different types of chemical processes going on, and it will change some kind of chemistry on the removal. Therefore, the rinsing is hugely important, especially to do it fast. And especially if you're working on lots, chances are you might be working in the sun, so it could eventually bake it into that if you take too long to do it. So just a lot of rinsing, and then just rinse the area as well to just move that and flush it out.
And if you ever stain concrete, what removes mineral? Acid. My man. Perfect. Yep. Take a little bit of acid on that surface, let it sit for about 30 seconds, pressure wash it, hit it with the greaser, pressure wash one more time, it'll be clean, okay? So I guess...
You were on the towel care thing?
Yes.
Definitely.
So the other thing, when you guys go to buy towels, you might notice some weird numbers. Has anyone seen GSM shouted out there when you're buying towels? So that's gram per square meter. That will refer to the thickness of the towel and the amount of fibers built into it. So the higher the number, the better in a lot of cases. Also, if you look at this picture, you've got polyamide and polyester. So you'll see different blends of those two materials. Some of them will be better for scrubbing. Some of them will be better at picking up liquid, okay? So kind of cater it to whatever your process is. If I'm not wrong, the polyester is the one that absorbs, and the polyamide scrubs, okay? So kind of adjust it. If it's an interior towel, you want kind of a 50-50, maybe 70-30 blend. If you're drying a vehicle, you want more of the polyester.
The polyester.
Okay.
The one that picks up.
Exactly. Now, we should have one of our products here. Yep. So when you clean your towels, it's not rocket science, okay? For one, I gotta say, don't clean this at home, okay? If you have kids, don't go take your degreaser-covered towel or covered in tar or whatever, shove it in the same place you clean your clothes, okay? Laundromats are great. Also on that note, you don't want a cleaner or a detergent that has like scents, you don't want colors built in, and you definitely don't want powders. Because powders, they will not fully break down sometimes, and then it leaves something you need to scratch the vehicle with, okay? So this guy literally is, I think it breaks out to like 20 cents a wash, something like that. And what it's good at doing is removing chemicals that are water resistant. Because a bunch of the stuff we use, like whether it's a sealant to, I don't know, what other stuff, solvents to ceramic coatings.
Anything you have on there. It's
dressings.
to take a look at is your towel management. Okay, don't crisscross your towels. So if you use those towels on wheels, that's all they're good for. Don't bring that on the paint, don't bring that on the glass. So towel management have 3 buckets. Your all-purpose towels that are gonna be surfaces and things of that nature. Then you have your I'm gonna say your undercarriage or your lower portions of the car where you're picking up all this gunk and you're cleaning rims or or drying rims, whatever it is. That way you're not mixing them up because you don't want to do that. You can actually take your glass towels, which are probably going to be your more sensitive ones because of the non-streaking ability of it. Once that towel is ready to be moved on, then that can go to the bottom and then work on your lower panels and your more grimy areas. So towel management is huge, especially in your businesses when you're doing it. If you have like, a couple of things where you can just throw your accordingly, your businesses as well because you're mobile, that keeps it, keeps you on the honest side of that without cross-contaminating surfaces. Also, you don't want to wash your glass towels with your body towels or your grimy towels. You don't want to do that because somewhere in that process, there's going to be an exchange of gunk, so to speak, and you don't want that cross-contaminate. So just keeping all these things in mind, that's where the laundromat comes in because it's actually a very cost-effective way to clean your towels and dry them and stuff. And you're going to dry them as well. Another thing is keeping in mind the polyester and polyamides, there's the plastics. So the higher heat you put them on, the more that's going to melt, and it's going to not be the same thing. So you want to, depending on more of the modern ones today, they have like the air dry kind of a setting, which is not going to deliver a lot of high heat or any heat, depending, and it'll still dry them. Or just do the hang up. Don't dry them fully, leave them a little damp, and then be able to just dry them out or hang them up or however it is, it's going to dry the rest of the way before the next day of work, if that makes any sense.
It's a lot easier if you build this into a schedule. I used to, in my detail shop, I would wait until I only had 1 towel left, and now I'm stuck at the laundromat all weekend. I literally had like 3,000 towels, guys. I'm telling you. I would take up 6 washers, 6 dryers. It would take me 5 hours. It was stupid. But if you can get into the habit of like, I don't know, every 2-3 weeks, take your 100 towels, go to the laundromat, sit there, do your marketing, hop on social media, be productive, that tends to be a little less overwhelming. And then you get farther away from that screw it stage of, I'm just going to shove it all in the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as well as keeping in mind that, the cost of microfiber towels has come down quite a bit over the last several years. So being able to just stock up on microfiber towels is not a bad way to go. Okay, so stock up on them, keep them separate, and you know what, you're gonna discard them at some point in time because it's just a disposable product. Get into that habit. I'm more of a cheapskate when it comes to something like that. I'm not gonna toss my glass towels, I'm gonna rotate them. That's just me. I come from, when I started, everything was expensive as heck. So you wanted to preserve everything. So I guess that stayed with me. So I've always done that. I do the rotation a lot.
You're a business owner, dude. You try to pinch every penny. I get
so
it.
Even if they're cheap now, I still revert back to my old ways, which really is not a bad way to go because it just keeps you in focus anyway. So keeping that in mind, keeping in mind, look at some of the stains that you see in the detail world. Okay, we're picking up grease, we're picking up tars, we're picking up all kinds of bug guts. All this stuff gets embedded into these microfiber towels because that's what they're designed to do. Embed this thing in themselves to keep them off the surface. So understanding exactly what it is you're working with is how you're going to be able to determine the use of your towels. One of the things you see up there, you see the color system. That is huge. Now there's so many colors. Get your manufacturer of choice where you want to buy them from and stick to the colors, and you can say blue for glass, red for your grease and your lower panels, green for your interiors. You can actually color code them to the point where just your color code is going to allow you to stay focused on what it is you're using it on and rotate them accordingly.
Yeah, and once they get to the point of no return, what I used to do is I would just lop off an edge, just like a corner. That way I don't have to throw it away and I'm not wasting my grimy towels. So, if I do a ceramic coating, I'll use something like this that's really plush so I don't scratch my ceramic as I'm installing it or scratch the paint. And you repurpose those towels.
Right.
But I tell you what, if you need to scrub carpets, that's a really nice towel to reach for, bro, because it's got an extra abrasiveness to it. So, tips and tricks. Let's keep it moving.
We good?
Yeah.
All righty.
No questions?
Brushes, quality of brushes. That is something that's huge. I apologize.
No.
Quality of brushes, things of that nature. Make sure you're using quality brushes. Okay, a lot of times you're going to use something that's got too strong of a bristle for the actual work you're working on. You want to stick away if you're working on the, I always try to do like the front clip of the engine, or not the engine, I'm sorry, on the interior. I want to stay away from hard bristle brushes. I want to stay away from anything that's not a soft bristle brush. I'm a big fan of Tampico brushes because they hold product well, and or boar's head brushes that are typically soft. That's what I like to use in those crevices and things of that nature. Then I use other brushes accordingly, stiffer brushes for the carpets and over upholstery, but I don't want them to be as stiff as they're going to damage the surface. That's what you want to stay away from. You don't want to fray that. You don't want to go into the shaving situation where you got to get a shaver and literally shave some of that stuff that you're picking up off of them. So using soft bristle brushes, quality brushes. One of my favorite things is I call it the iron.
Oh yeah.
That thing is awesome for cleaning your leathers and your vinyls and things of that nature for the interiors of the vehicles is awesome because it's aggressive enough to clean, but not aggressive enough to really do damage. Used properly, used correctly. Seatbelt brush is an interesting one because it's something you don't really see a lot. Seatbelts are really weird because they have a flame retardancy built into them, and if you degrade that too much, that could become a liability, especially when you go at it with a really aggressive way of cleaning it and or brushing it and not drying it, therefore building mildew in there, and it could become a huge liability. But there are tools to get those things done efficiently in a non-aggressive way. That's just one of those specialty brushes that we all know exist, but no one talks about. But you got to be careful and be understanding of everything you're working on, but using the right tool for it. Nothing too aggressive. You know, have a variety of brushes, have a lot of them for anything you could come across. Vents are different than what you're going to put in the center console of the car with the little intricate things. I saw a video the other day on someone who addressed something that we never talk about, and that was the rubber, when the rubber buttons get that stickiness or whatever, how to take care of it. I'm like, doggone it. We talk about all this stuff every day and every day in and out, and we never talk about that. This guy put on video, he did a good job. Don't know who he was, but good job, guy. Having the right products for that, you know, for any of these things is what you need. Making sure you're not getting anything too aggressive that's gonna fray over into a panel that is like your console, where you have your radio or any of that, your nav screens, to damage anything like that. So just being careful and having everything that you need, a variety thereof, so that you don't get overly aggressive.
Perfect. Heck yeah.
Anything? If there's anything, just give me one of these, and then I'll be able to go on that. And I don't know on YouTube, that's on your side, so
Yep, I'm paying
you
attention.
can man that. Cool.
Perfect. So Tornador is just another tool, guys. I'm going to try and breeze through this because there's so much process behind all this too. But basically, this is just another tool. All you need to know about it is that it puts air and liquid together, and it puts a motion on it, like a tornado, right? The big key to this guy is don't put just any chemical in it. I remember it's one of my first details I ever did when I was younger. I put a hydrogen peroxide-based cleaner inside of a Tornador. My lungs felt like they were on fire for about an hour and a half, dude. I felt like I smoked the whole pack, and I was 15. If I had been older, I might have died, legitimately. So typically what we suggest from our line, we have 3 products. There's Twister, All Clean, and Enzyme. They're all mild enough that if you did breathe them, they're not gonna hurt you. If you take something like our Wow Cleaner and you put it inside this Tornador, it could put you in the hospital because ammonia and lungs, they don't mix, okay? So just be very conscious. Certain tools require certain inputs, certain chemicals, okay? Sweet.
Detail cards. I touched on this briefly before. They're a great tool because they help you manage your job. Okay? And you want to make sure that you have it completely stocked so you're not going back and forth to your arsenal of products. Have it all there for the job at hand. You already know the job you're going to do beforehand. Like you said, you speak to your customer before. You know what you're going to do, especially your fleet accounts. You know what's going to work on the fleet accounts. Have your cart set up, boom, ready to go. And that just helps you become efficient. Why are they cool? You have a place for everything. Therefore, minimizing your cross-contamination. You have your place for your tool, a place for your product, another place for your towels, your pads. This particular one has a pad washer. By the way, huge, cool investment to have, especially when you're working mobile, okay? Just have that there. You don't have to be going home and then, doing the pressure wash thing, whatever, that keeps it where it's not degrading the product, or the pad. One thing is it's going to spin it to dry it, so it's going to become damp. Piece of advice, the way I do it, I always put it material side down on top of a towel to dry it overnight or whenever. I will occasionally put it inside of a plastic bag, but I leave the bag open. Okay, that way it's still drying, there's still air circulation. I have no mold buildup, but now I don't have anything that's gonna fall on top of that as well. And then I'm ready for my next day's job. I have clean towels while those dry, if they're not dry by the time I'm getting to them on the next job. But the pad washer is a huge investment, and it will stretch the life of that pad for you. So you're not gonna be constantly buying pads and buying pads. And pads are a huge investment. Buy enough of them to get the job done. Don't just use one per car, use multiples, buy enough to get the jobs done. Because the longer they last, the better it is. And by having more of them, okay, to get the job done, it's actually going to cost you less in the long run. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. Anything to add?
So the only thing to add with the pad washers, when they first came out, a lot of guys would go and clean a pad between each panel.
Yeah.
And they'd have a really wet pad, and they'd put that on a car. And we noticed early on it was taxing the machines, and it was too much weight, basically, for the machine to push, okay? So usually this is only going to be used post-detail, like David was saying, let them dry the next day, but my God, are they a great tool.
Yep.
I've got one in my shop, too.
Yep.
They're awesome.
Other things to have in there that you're going to be able to put in there is all your safety equipment. So if you're working on the wash portion of your job, you're going to have the water boots, you can put them in there. All of these things just makes you more efficient. If you notice, just about everything we talk about if we don't say it and mention it to you, it leads to efficiencies. Therefore, job quicker, job more organized, job quicker means more money for you in the long run. So if you can get done a 2-hour job in an hour and 40 minutes, that just allows you to get that one more car a day that I spoke to about at the beginning of the class.
We do have a question. Okay, so by any chance, do you know the longevity of protection for 550 quantum wash system ceramic coating? Okay, so technically we are the detail guys, okay? But from what I've heard from those guys on the wash side of things, I mean, a lot of it depends on how nice the surface is, right? If it's a good clear coat, if it's been polished and maintained versus like heavily oxidized. But on average, what you put in a car wash, it's not going to last as long. It's on there for 10 seconds. You know what I mean?
And you're also not doing the actual proper maintenance on that paint to actually strip all of anything that could be on that paint. So you're not taking off any oxidation, you're not taking off any bonded contaminants. So therefore, it's not going to be as much as it would be on the detail side. The detail side, when they're going to do a paint correction and or a ceramic application, we will be taking that paint down to the bare minimum of oxidation or just anything that's on it. So we're going to clean that paint down to the nth degree. We're going to attack it from the iron removal side. We're going to attack it from the mechanical side with a clay or a clay product, such as a clay pad or a clay mitt. Therefore, we're going to clean that paint correctly all the way down. Then we're going to clean that surface before it's applied, so it's a different application. and completely different expectation of what you're putting on there.
And different levels of SiO2, which is the base for ceramics. So long story short, my guess is somewhere around a month is probably the median amount of time that a sealant can last on the car wash side. For the lighter ones, like a lava arch, you might get a week out of it. For the ceramics, maybe a month.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to it. Cool. Awesome. OSHA. This is just, we're going to hit this one multiple times. This is super important. You guys should understand every product you have in your shop, and at a bare minimum, always wear gloves, okay? Your eyeballs are already also something that you really need to protect, but health before wealth always, guys.
Yep.
Because if you lose your health, you're going to spend all that wealth that you gain trying to get it back, okay? And understand that your skin is a porous surface. Whatever gets on your skin can and will go inside. So on the harsher stuff, I'm not saying soaps. I'm not saying like a basic all-purpose. But if you're working with a degreaser or you're working with an acid, God, please use gloves, ideally a mask, and then glasses as well, okay?
When you're pulling out the polishers, regardless of which ones they are, there is a decibel increase in your immediate area, therefore ear protection as well. If you're using headphones, while you're doing your job, I guess that's pretty cool, but you got decibels coming in, but it's the machine. If you're not, put some ear protection in as well, because that could damage after prolonged exposure to that. So that's another one to look at. And I think that would be about it. Aprons, because not only do you want to get a splash on your clothes and be protected against that, but if you don't take that off immediately and change it, when it mixes in with your sweat, or if it gets wet again, that chemical will react differently again against your skin. So apron is, we don't think about these things, but that's what we do. We think about it for you. Make sure that we bring you that information. It's also something to take a look at. He actually went through one the other day when you had the thing spill on your foot.
Oh, that was
great.
great.
And it was a chemical we didn't.
Body tire and wheel, baby.
We were testing on a product. He literally, I'm out, went home, went back to the hotel, changed clothes and changed everything. But that is the right thing to do. He wasn't going to change it here because there wasn't anything here, but he went back and changed that because you don't want that coming back to you.
You can make a sock out of a microfiber towel.
Yes.
Okay, I've done it multiple times now. You just wrap it up real tight.
And keep something in mind as well. When your body comes into contact with all these chemicals, it's not going to show up right away. It will show up over a prolonged time frame. So you want to take care of that as fast as possible. If it's talking about HF or HC, hydrofluoric or hydrochloric acid or barium fluoride, that will usually develop for you on the next day, and you don't want to go there. Trust me, we've seen the pictures. I'm not even going to put one up there because it's not a pretty thing to see. It will literally kill your skin. So just be aware, these are chemicals, okay? And we try to make them as efficiently as possible, as safe as possible, with all the warnings. RTFL, read the funny label, okay? There's a lot of money spent on that to make sure you're safe. So looking at that, take that into consideration. These are all OSHA requirements. SDS sheets in all your work areas. Don't just get the SDS sheets from the manufacturer and keep them at home. You need to keep that in your truck, in your rig, always. Keep a binder for it, every single product. Every single product. I can't stress that enough. You need to have this in all your rigs, okay? When you have it in your shop, you want to keep one in the office and you want to keep one in your work area. That might be overkill, but at the end of the day, it really isn't. Okay, just keep that in mind because it's very important.
Well, and finally, these guys, we do make really nice labels for you. You will run into situations where it's easier just to fill the bottle and set it and forget it, or put a little marker on there. I would suggest against it just because, one, OSHA will fine you. I think it's $100 per bottle they find.
Depending on the area, I've seen $1,000 per bottle, sir.
Can be higher, yes. I don't know what Houston is like. Texas is very friendly with chemical. That's why we make our chemical here, right? But on that other end, if you don't label a bottle and then you have one of your coworkers pick it up and it looked like the right color and it was a completely different product, you can damage a lot of stuff. I always tell this story, even though I don't really like to, but I had a customer, he worked at an RV place, he got a used set of wheels on the weekend, wanted to clean them at work. His boss was a jerk, wouldn't do it. So he stole a bottle of acid in a water bottle, and he took it home. He set it on the counter, and his wife walks in like an hour later. It was unlabeled, and the acid was clear. So she ended up drinking like 2 or 3 swigs of this. I want to say it was sulfuric acid. Really nasty stuff, guys. And he calls me at like 8 o'clock at night, freaking out. What do I do? I'm like, hey, I can't give you any advice. Call Chemtrek, because they actually know how to deal with these kind of problems. She was fine. She woke up great the next day, but they'll give you the advice that you need. So know the number for Chemtrek, and always label your bottles. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah, right.
That's a really good question.
Think, right?
It was milk. It was milk in her case.
Milk is a cure-all.
It is. It's kind of weird, man.
Yeah.
It neutralized it, and she didn't even have any negative effects. So it does, speak to the human body is very resilient, and we can go through a lot of things, but you want to be on top of that stuff. You wouldn't want to let that go. Okay. Now this is a weird story. Basically, just to kind of breeze through it, it talks about a kid who used to build a lot of sandcastles in his backyard. Normally, most days it's not raining, right, so the sand isn't very sticky. So most of the time, you're just building dirt piles. So he'd go in at lunch, his mom calls him in, he brushes off his hands because it's not stuck to him. Easy. He could go eat his lunch. He goes out the next day. It rained overnight. He's building these beautiful castles just like this. And when he gets called in for lunch, he goes to do the typical shake the sand off his hands, and it's all stuck, right? So the idea behind the story is that before we introduce any water into the car, we want to get as much dirt out of the interior that we can, okay? So for our initial stage, we call it the prep bay. So before we're going to pressure wash, we're going to pull out all of our floor mats, we're going to pull out all of our trash, all customer belongings, and we're going to start by using an air gun, which how many have air guns in their shop? If you don't, you got to invest. Okay, everyone here is good.
Good.
YouTube, please invest in it. The difference that compressed air can make in your detailing process is literally 30 minutes of detail. If it's really bad on the interior, we recommend something like essentially a tornador to agitate and pull things out like sand, hair, stuff like that. And we recommend that you start at the front and push it back to where like the passenger's heels would be, okay? Try and put it in that corner so it's minimal vacuuming. And to kind of preserve the longevity of your towels and use less of them for cleaning, blast off like the headliner, the door panels, the dash, everything that you can will make it easier. Carefully, of course. That's why I like the tornador.
Yeah. You want to use it on, want to do it hit it direct, especially if you have anything in that tornador, because that's glue, and it's a very thin layer of glue. So you hit the headliner at an angle, so it just comes off, digging into it.
Yeah, we're just trying to get dust out at this phase, guys. We're not doing any cleaning whatsoever. And then once we get the majority of the dust and dog hair, I'll throw that out there, get the dog hair out if they pay for it. Never do dog hair for free, okay? It's too much time, too convenient.
And if you do.
If you do, just don't. But basically, once you get all those contaminants out, then you can start introducing liquid to the vehicle. And the first thing we want you guys to do, ideally, is to do pre-soaking, okay? So there's 3 main chemicals. If you'll hit one more slide for me. She's slow today.
Yeah.
Maybe one more? Perfect. Okay. So these are our 3 main chemicals that we use for pre-soaking. Okay. So all clean you can use on almost any surface. It's really gentle. It's very unlikely that it damages something. Even if your interior isn't bad, I would recommend spraying all of your carpets with at least one of these 2. Okay. If you've got more of a smell or more of a stain issue, that's when I tend to reach for the enzyme. It does a really good job of eating the contaminant and dying without a scent, which is nice. And then wow, you know how some stains take 2-3 tries sometimes to get out? It's best to take a stab at some of those more aggressive stains at this stage to let the chemical remove, say, half of it. Say it's an oil stain in a carpet. Get the majority out, spray a little bit more chemical on, and let it sit, wash the car. Okay? That's kind of the prep bay in a nutshell.
Yep. So the wash bay, and this is where it gets all fun because car wash can really, you can really do a deep dive into car washes. Okay, you can really get into, nooks and crannies and brushing every single hinge and brushing every single area. It's really it's an interesting thing because everybody says, oh, it's a car wash, it's a car wash. It can get really deep in the weeds. But basically what you want to do is this is what sets you up for your success throughout the rest of your job. Okay, this is what's going to get all of the above surface contaminants, the dirt. Okay, anything that has not adhered to the surface, anything that hasn't bonded to the surface. That's what this is designed to do. This is not designed for cleaning, okay, the surface. It's designed for removing the dust and all the material to get to that next stage, okay? So what you want to do is you basically want to make sure you're not working on an overly hot surface, okay? So preferably you're going to be looking at subdued sunlight that isn't too hot. You want to do, if you have a canopy or if you have an inside shop, that would be the ideal, but then you got to worry about your runoff, so all that kind of good stuff. This is where it all begins, okay? You want to do a pre-soak. That's going to allow you to do getting a better, like a cheat code into getting the paint clean along with the wash. So you want to basically rinse off a lot of that dirt, do your foam application whatever, after you've done like a pre-soak that allows that cleaning step to start working, okay? You want to go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is the stuff. No, I'm just saying this is the world's best pre-soak. I'm being his little showcase guy.
Connor/Vanna White. But you want to make sure you got everything out. You want to make sure everything is done because at this process, you also can use it to advance yourself in cleaning the mats while you get them out of the car, the plastic mats or the rubber mats, whatever you want to call them. This also is a precursor to whether you're going to wash the engine or clean the engine or not, and this will be either before or after this. I would suggest you do it before. I would also suggest you get some of the car wash and then basically apply it to the cowling area, right where the windshield meets the engine area and all the sides, okay? Do your engine bay, do your H patterns and things of that nature, and then you want to come back and then you wash the car. The reason you want to pre-apply some of this car wash soap to these areas is when you start hitting that car on the that engine on the inside, everything starts to pop out over it. You don't have anything that's going to adhere itself to the surface, therefore causing any damage. Okay, anything you don't put in, you don't have to get out. Okay, just think about it from that way. Okay, you want to do your bug pre-soap at this point in time as well before you get into your wash. Allow it to start breaking that down. Okay, you want to do your tires and wheel wells as well. This is all part of that process for the beginning of that wash, before the wash. Okay, and then after you've done these things, then you go into your wash, and there's products that you're going to use. You're going to decide what soap you're going to use, if you're going to use a foam kind of method, if you're going to use a hand-applied friction method directly, whether it's a 2 or 3 bucket method, whatever it is you're going to use. That's when you do that, and then you jump down into the next logical step, which will be the wheels.
The wheels are the best. Everyone always has a question about the wheels because there's so many different kinds, right? So on this example right here, we got 4 different kinds. We have just your standard quick painted wheel. If it's a factory wheel, by the way, they are way more expensive than you think. So ruining a factory wheel sucks. You'll all do it once if you do this for a lifetime career.
One at a time.
One at a time. That is a huge way to not mess that up, okay? We got 3-piece wheels. Who knows what it's made out of? I have no clue. Just assume that it's the lightest material possible because that's a $3,000 wheel, more than likely, okay? You got your powder coated and then have aluminum wheels, which are usually your bigger like fleet trucks, stuff like that, semis.
Old school hot rods.
Old school hot rods, can't go wrong. Yeah. The only thing to note about wheels is that it's really important to start by cooling them off, because this is the hottest part of the vehicle. Okay, you got the brakes right there, got all the friction from the tires going down the road. The blacktop is hot, okay? Heat and chemical, when they meet, the chemical reacts much, much quicker, and it gets to a point where it can damage the wheel much faster as well, okay? So first thing is to cool it off. The second thing is to do a test spot, okay? So usually we want to go to the back of the wheel, the drum behind the spoke. And what you'll do is you'll take just your best guess at what you think is going to clean the wheel well. So me, I always tend to reach for acid first. I want it done fast. It's less scrubbing. It's ideal, right? So spray a little bit on the back. Scrub it just for 10, 15 seconds. Hit it with water. If you see a negative reaction, don't use that cleaner. If you don't see a negative reaction, move forward, okay? The way that you apply to a wheel is super simple. So when I approach it, the first thing I'm going to do before I put a chemical on the wheel itself is I'm going to get the mud out of the wheel well with the pressure washer. I'm going to coat using a degreaser. I'm going to hit my wheel well and my tire, okay? Then I'm going to approach the wheel. Usually, my favorite way to apply wheel cleaner is with one of these guys, because it'll foam your chemical, guys. Personally, I love them. But basically, you start at the bottom of the wheel, spraying side to side, and you work your way to the top of the wheel, okay? Any guesses why we would do that? Why would you start at the bottom versus top? You might have it.
Your hand gestures were
You
going the
did.
right way.
You were going the right direction. Go for it. That's it. Yeah, because it'll make like, you ever had it make like a run mark, essentially, where it's extra clean in one spot or burned, essentially? So if you start at the bottom and you work your way up, you avoid it, okay?
It goes over itself, therefore it's like a protective kind of barrier.
And the foam goes a long ways in preventing the streaks, too, because it's going to help it dwell in the area longer, okay? So the big thing, that's the technique of it all, right? And the test spotting, that will be done vehicle by vehicle. The trickiest wheel that you'll ever find out there is going to be aluminum, okay? Because when you mess it up, it's messed up hard, okay? It's not that you've ruined it, it's just usually you pulled all the shine out of the wheel, which is fixable. We have product for that, but it's going to take you 45 minutes to polish that wheel out.
Not a fun job to polish aluminum
No.
wheels. It's not. So good quality car wash soap and a soft bristle brush, that's your go-to.
It's the best. You know, honestly, and if you need something a little more aggressive, I like to use iron remover occasionally on it because it's a pH neutral cleaner. It will get the iron deposits off as long as you keep it wet. That is the key with cleaning wheels, guys. Don't let stuff dry. The second it dries, you're screwed, okay? Now, how do you test whether or not this is bare aluminum or clear-coated aluminum? Any ideas? Okay. Same way that you would polish out the wheel is how you would test it. Take a little bit of metal polish, rub it on the wheel surface. If it turns black, that means that it is a raw aluminum wheel. If it doesn't change color, it's got a clear coat, and you can clean it like any other wheel, okay? Any questions? It's like a fire hose, man. I feel like an auctioneer sometimes. I'm just like,
I think we lost about 20 minutes, like 30 minutes ago, because they're like,
caffeine break?
But hopefully you're
Restroom break?
hopefully you're just capturing stuff, which is interesting. Going back to the engines, like I had told you before, this is way different than the engines back in the day. All right, way different. A lot more components. I mean, I remember, you know, guys could actually sit inside the engine bay to work on a car. Okay, it's that much space, and you didn't have a lot of all this gadgetry and electronics and all this stuff. So you have to really take care of everything so you're not damaging anything. One of the worst things that you could possibly do on here is take a high pressure washer and just gunning this thing without taking the protective steps to take care of certain items. And the reason for that is because when you're going at it with a high pressure, you could build so much water into certain areas where it pools, and then the moisture gets into these sensors, and then you're done. So keeping all that in mind, you want to make sure that you spray accordingly. You want to spray the areas like an H pattern along each side of the engine and then across the middle. Okay, you want to do it that way. You want to use low pressure cleaner, if that's what you're going to use, or a very, very low pressure spray nozzle on a hose that's going to go out at a low level of pressure, not a lot, because you don't want to overwhelm these parts. Okay, everything in this engine, or a lot of these things in this engine, especially anything hidden by plastics, is usually electronic underneath it. So that's why you want to be extremely careful when it comes to this. You guys in the fleet business should know this or have an idea. So keep that in mind as well. What did I
It's
just get?
decided to hook you. I got you,
Oh,
brother.
there you go. Thank you.
I got you.
Appreciate that. So
No problem.
just be very careful about this. This is probably one of those things that could really be an expensive surprise if not done properly and not done carefully. Okay?
I had a buddy blow up his Toyota Tacoma. Cost him $8,000 because he tried to get the mud out of his interior, out of his engine bay.
Yeah.
And he
yeah,
didn't check his fuse box. It wasn't sealed fully, so the water got into the fuse box. It lit the entire ECU up, and it shorted the entire truck. Cost him $8,000, guys.
Not a pretty thing.
So check the seals, the big areas. If you'll go back real quick. Sorry, brother. The big areas, like this is your fuse box here. Check that guy. Sometimes there's an open air intake. Always cover that guy. One of the things we love to keep in our shops, or we suggest that you do, is like your grandma's shower cap that she would use. It's got that band built into it. So you can just slap that right on top of an alternator. Slap it on top of the battery pack, whatever.
If you have an intake, you want to fill that intake with something that's going to be keep the water out of it. So if you have, that's another huge one to be careful about. Basically, if also, sometimes some of these things are loose. You want to be careful when you're pushing a lot of pressure in there because you lift up some plastic areas. I know that I saw this the other day. We were doing it in a class and it actually hit me. One of these things here, it wasn't properly seated and it lifted it up. Nothing was underneath it, but it's just the fact that you hit it and okay, we're using a little too much pressure. So you want to make sure you keep all these things in mind. Less is best in a lot of situations. Sure.
I just want to say one thing. I got burned one time. I always check, before I'm doing an engine bay detail, I always check and see if the car has any check engine lights or codes.
Very good.
Yeah, one time I got burned. I didn't know it had a check engine light. And they said, well, ever since you detailed my car.
Of course.
Tools.
Of course.
Always check the codes first before
Yeah.
I even pop the hood.
Good for you. Thanks. Definitely.
Take pictures, guys. Photographic proof.
So here's
Bucket washing.
it's very a lot of the guys are doing now. They're going to the foam canning situation. So the bigger picture there is the 2-bucket method. To me, it's therapy. The 2-bucket method. You know, when I'm doing my personal car, because you just chill. But if it's in a business situation, I'm doing foam canning all day long, twice on Sunday. Okay, that's just the way it is. But you know, that therapeutic thing on a Sunday morning is not too bad either, the 2-bucket method. Yeah. But you know, always take your precautions. The grit guards are huge if you're doing hand washes, and sometimes it's an upcharge. You know, some customers might want a hand wash and don't want the foam cannon. Make sure that there's a little bit more work, a little bit more involved in that. Get paid for it. Okay, but take all the proper precautions to do that. I like grit guards on both buckets, on the rinse wash and also on the wash side or on the soapy side. That's just me. I use a microfiber, not a Chanel wash mitt. I use a microfiber mitt, not the one with like the dreadlocks on it. The other one, that's just the one I like. But there's very, very many wash medias that you could use. If you're doing rinseless washes, you can use a sponge. It is designed to lift dirt when you use a rinseless wash, and the sponge is not going to rub anything dangerous on the paint. You're always going to be using a hose with a spray nozzle and or a pressure washer to remove the surface dirt before you do any of these things. Okay, so that's going to help minimize anything on that surface that's going to allow you to put scratches into it. Okay, your drying methods as well is something to think about. What are you going to use? Are you using water blades? Are you using anything outside of a nice plush microfiber towel that absorbs a lot of water? Are you going to be spraying down the surface? Or are you going to be, you know, applying just water running through and not creating beads, but creating an effect of a runoff? That means you're going to be drying less because most of the waters have already run off. So all of these things are things to take into consideration in your wash method. Anytime you're going to use a pressure washer or anything you're going to spray at a high pressure to the surface of a car, regardless of what surface it is, you want to make sure that you either hit the first shot into a bucket to make sure that that nozzle is on right and is not flying off and causing any damage. So that first thing, make sure it's on good, and then take it to the paint. Okay, that's gonna help you out. This is as well where you're going to be able to do the mats, finish those off, pressure wash them off, hang them out to dry, make sure they're ready for the dressing step that comes in subsequent steps. Pick your choice, okay? There's foam cannons that work with pressure washers. There's foam cannons that work with a hose. The ones with the hose will not be as fun, let's say, to use than you do the ones with the pressure washer. Those just spread it out in a really cool, it's beautiful. If you got her or one of the guys do the filming while you're doing that, it looks really good on video, okay? The one with the water hose, not as much, but it's still effective. And you know, like I said, the more inefficient way is to use the 2-bucket method with regards to when you're working volume work. It is the inefficient way, but it is a really good way because you can really concentrate on areas that typically you overlook because of the foam cannon and all the, you know, dog and pony show. Anything I've missed? Anything else you want to add?
Maybe one little tip. So a lot of the trickier parts on a car are going to be around like the decals, the lettering, stuff like that. A lot of detailers just skip it, especially if it's a white car. There's a lot of buildup there. It's super nasty. If you can take like a hog hair brush in a vent brush form and spray a little bit of acid on those spots, like your wheel acid, and agitate, and then follow it with a degreaser and pressure wash off, they are literally like brand new, okay? Same thing with like white cars, fleet vehicles, stuff like that. The door jambs don't get touched by degreaser for some stupid reason. So you have to reach for your wheel acid, soak that door jamb, let it sit for 30 seconds, pressure wash it off, and it's brand new, guys, okay? Just always follow that neutralizing concept. Yeah, that's all I got.
Good.
Any questions? Okay. I mean, it's washing cars, right? We do this all daily, so yeah.
And then these are some of the tools that we mentioned in passing and or just bringing them out to you to understand what each is. So we have your pressure your pressure tanks, your appliers, your sprayers, whatever you want to call them. These are really, really good quality. They tend to last way longer than just putting it into a spray bottle and then just using your chemical resistant spray or whatever. These are designed to take the abuse of the chemicals that you're using on and to actually apply them correctly. Am I in your way when you sing? Are you? Oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure because I just cut that out of my eye. The grit guard's huge for me for helping you not put dirt back into the paint, which could cause more scratching. Like I said before, if you're not putting it in, you ain't got to take it out. High quality products like the scrubbers. Those are huge. They will not scratch the paint when used properly. There's also the dual sponges. When you get them, they're like a brick. But when you put them in the water, they soften up so nice and they really remove a lot of the bird droppings and things that get on the paint. Brushes, wheel brushes are very huge because you don't want to go and polish anything on the rim. That's just a bear. Those high quality ones are really, really good because those fibers are designed to be turned and put into the barrels as well as the face and be able to go in there without adding any additional damages to them. The round brushes or any typical type of brush that you use, that you can use, those are great for getting into where the barrels are, where the nuts are. I like Tampico, like I said before, I like Tampico for applying it just because it's a soft product, it holds a product in it well, but any brush that is designed for wheels is going to be what you want to use. I tend to go more towards the soft bristle brushes personally, just because I don't want to induce anything into the surface that I'm working on. That's just me. Your drying towels, which one do you like? Get the one that is huge for picking up water because you literally don't have to wring it out. It's all about saving time, and I don't want to spend time wringing the stuff out. It's a sick mentality that we have as detailers, but that's my practice. So the less I got to wring out, the less time I got to spend. So I try to get that out. I also am huge for the rinseless wash side of it because the rinseless wash allows me to work basically anywhere, even if there's a place with water restrictions. So there is a method to that madness. But those are things to consider as well, because your water runoff is huge when it comes to your local EPA, DERM departments of the county or city you work in. Steel wool, that is huge. Where do you think steel wool is huge at? Anybody use it?
Trick question.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, windows.
Nice.
Exactly what you want to remove some of that stuff out. The 4-aught is what you want to be at. That's not really going to scratch anything. It's not going to do any damage, but it will be effective at working well. It is also good when you use it on certain chrome areas, okay, because it really cleans it up well without inducing scratches into it. So it's something to think about. If you're not using that, it's a good tool to have in your arsenal.
For the
Good tool to have
exhaust
in your
guys.
toolbox. They're really cool. They're really cool. And they're not expensive. They really are not. And a quality car wash. You want to usually stick to the neutrals, the pH neutral ones, but there is a point where if it gets a little more on the alkaline side, it could work well for you as well, because it could help you from having to add an all-purpose cleaner, or it helps also with the pre-soak side of it as well, to get all that residue off of that.
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah, sure. All
You
right.
are El Hombre.
Interior cleaning. Oh boy, everyone's favorite part, right? I hate interiors with a passion, but it has to be done, guys. So the key here is all about building a system and a routine, right? We've already talked a lot about like detail carts, so having that well stocked, having your tools all in one place makes a huge difference. But more than anything, working the same way every time will help you not miss stuff. So what we typically suggest is you start with the driver's seat just because it's the hardest. There's more stuff going on there. Work your way around to the passenger, and then just do a clockwise motion, okay? You can totally change it up for whatever your style is. Consistency is the key, okay? That's really all we're going for. When it comes to interior cleaning, there are some basics. We do always suggest that you do top-down cleaning. So start with your headliner, work your way down your pillars, hit the top of the dash, work your way down, and then get out of the car. If you start at the bottom and then sit in a wet seat, you're gonna feel like an idiot, and you're gonna be walking around with a wet butt all day. Okay, no one likes swamp butt, that's not cool. So basically, we try and avoid that, and once you are done with an area, ideally we don't have to come back to it. So I'm talking everything from vacuuming, cleaning, extracting, and dressing before you move on, okay? That can include windows, whether you like to or not. That depends on the person. I usually save that for the very end after I get my dressing wiped up, just because there's always some kind of like sweating that happens if it's hot outside. Don't want to ruin your windows. Oversaturation, big no-no, especially nowadays.
Huge.
Yeah.
I want to add a couple of things.
Please.
Real quick,
Yeah,
if
go
you don't
for
mind. When you're working in that area as well, so one of the things is, so if you're working on the driver's side, go over 10%. So go over like 50%. Take the front and divide that in 50. Okay, but you want to cross over 60%. So when you're doing it, you cross over 60%. That way you hit the center twice when you go on the other side. Okay, and clean up those little edges that you tend to forget. That's just something. Another thing is, if at all possible, do not remove seats. Do not get into the carpet thing. You're not restoring a car unless that's what you're getting paid for. Then it's a whole different ballgame. When you start to remove seats, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. In today's world, with the electronics in today's cars, you could help reset that computer. Unless you're a technician that knows how to reset that thing, it's only a dealership, and it's not cheap. So if you're not carrying insurance or any of that kind of stuff, take that into consideration. Another thing to think about is you start removing carpets and the padding on the underneath those. There's a lot of electronic cables that go under there. You don't want to oversaturate. These are just things to keep you on the safe side. Also, if you do remove seats, let's assume you remove seats on an older car that's not full of electronics. There are certain torques, okay? You need to know what torque to put that in. If you're removing rims, if you don't torque that rim accordingly, you could be opening yourself up to a liability. You have businesses you're running, and you sure as hell don't want to lose that business or get that license revoked or whatever it is if you do something to that nature. So keep yourself on the safe side. understand everything, the end result of everything you're doing. If you're removing seats, man, you better put them back exactly, torque them correctly. My advice is, don't remove them. I've never removed, I had a shop for 10 years. I have never removed the seat and never will.
Yep,
That's
it's
me.
smart.
You know, it's not gonna happen. So, just a couple of things to think about before we went on, because I wanted to throw that out there. I thought we
No,
forgot.
that's very smart.
So,
I didn't
yeah.
think about that, yeah. Especially with the seat removal, I've seen guys at dealership pull seats without disconnecting the battery.
Oh, no, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And
it's-
blow the airbags in the entire system, bro.
Yeah.
It happens,
No,
man. I mean,
yeah,
cars are weird. Sometimes you have a ghost in the machine. Every brand reacts
by
differently
the
when
way,
you
a
do
great album
stuff.
by the way, a great album by the Police.
Hey, I mean, just throwing it out there.
Yes, sir.
If you were to do that, these new cars have like a seat where you have it adjusted to where it's a certain position.
Right.
And what can end up happening is they'll get, if you get picky customers, they'll be like, oh, my seat is not going where it used to be.
Yeah, that's why there's a
you're gonna
memory
do it.
button. Okay, there's a memory button. If you remember to do that, that's a great thing. I never thought about. I do it for my car, but yeah, hit the memory button. That way you can always hit that back to where they had it. That might be something that. Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. It's just
If you're doing
air
it
on the-
properly, you're unplugging the battery, so it's gonna ruin all that anyway.
Air on the side of safety. Don't do it.
Yeah, pretty
You know?
much. Yeah.
You can always adjust the seating setting, okay? But everything else that goes along with it, it's just,
It's a
asking
time
for
risk.
asking for problems that you really don't need. Okay?
Yeah,
We good?
anytime you guys end up doing stuff like that, even engine bay, I've seen some people offer it for free. You should never do that service
Yeah.
for free. It's the highest risk thing you will do on a detail, bar none,
Yeah.
okay? Because if you get water into the wrong spot or you pull a cord in the wrong spot, it doesn't start. Those are all things that are gonna fall on your plate.
Yeah.
So typically charge at a minimum an hour of labor. On average, that's anywhere from 100 to 150 bucks, something like that. And then let the customer know that there are risks involved with doing this. If I can steer a customer away from something that I'm not comfortable doing, great. But if I'm going to be forced to do it, you're going to pay me a pretty penny. You know what I mean? It kind of puts things into perspective for the customer.
Yeah. Keep in mind also, there's Teslas especially, but a lot of the electric cars, they do have settings for detailing or cleaning or stuff like that. Be conscious of what that is and set it up, or have them set it up so that while it's being detailed, okay, it doesn't go off and all that kind of good, wonderful stuff. So just be aware, because with technology, technology is great, but there's also drawbacks to it. So keep that in mind, because it could set you back a little bit as far as your efficiencies or whatever, or even your profit margins.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know there was a detail setting
There's
for
a
electric
setting
cars.
For it, yeah, like it's like a service set. It's not detailing service, but
Sure,
it's
yeah.
a service
It's a
setting.
sensor type thing.
That's called car wash mode.
Okay, car wash mode.
Sick.
Major thing with Tesla, when you're cleaning it, you better be careful with spraying glass cleaner.
Yeah.
On any of the surfaces.
Yep.
You will destroy the screen on the inside. Either you're fine, if the filter goes in there, and it won't cover, because it has a water sensor inside of it. So if that
Oh.
time pops up, you gotta fix the electronics, you gotta fix the screen.
Oh, wow, okay.
It costs thousands of dollars. Hopefully they don't take total loss.
Oh,
Good
really?
Lord.
Holy cow.
Real bad, it's real
Interesting. Thank you for that. I wasn't aware of that.
They sell their own glass cleaner. Tesla sells their own glass cleaner.
I believe
I'll be
it.
darned. I'll be darned. So,
Use alcohol if that's the case, pure alcohol, so it will sweat off immediately, guys. That would be the only thing.
yeah. And
That's
not
a good
bit-
note, thank you.
And not a diluted alcohol.
No, no water.
Do you get that? Since you already started in the interior?
Oh, yeah, for
Cool.
sure. Yeah, so honestly, guys, there's a lot of different problems with the interior. Take a glance at this list. Shout out a few that you actually want to hear about, because I don't
Take a
want to
shot if you
blurb
want.
it
Take
all.
a picture as well, because this is good to have
Oh, yeah.
as a point of reference of everything you look at.
Love crayons. Nice. Why do you hate me, bro? Okay, so crayons, typically in cup holders, right? A lot of times.
On the panels,
Oh, yeah, the kick panels.
crayons, and also chalk.
And chalk.
A little bit easier.
Yeah. Crayon, typically your best friend is going to be heat. If you have a steamer that's really nice. I like to get a hot bottle of all-purpose cleaner, and I'll pre-soak my cup holder with that. let it sit in there, until it cools off. So I'll do like 30 seconds, let it chill, another 30 seconds with hot water, grab my steamer, and my initial go, I'm just gonna soften it, and then I'm gonna try and scoop out as much as I can. I used to keep a spoon in my shop. We also have detail bones. I don't know if you guys have heard of those. They're like a white stick. I love a detail bone, bro. They're awesome.
That's going back.
It is.
Yeah.
So they're nice though, because essentially it's a fingernail, and that you don't have to, use on your body. It's external. And you can wrap it with a towel and get into nooks and crannies really well, but you can also use it to chip out things without damaging surfaces, because it's a rounded plastic edge and it's soft.
Another thing to take a look at is what is the base material of a crayon. Grease. It's wax. So you're going to attack it with a kind of a grease cutter, a degreaser type product. And like you said, you want to soak it. Heat is your friend when it comes to that, as far as being able to remove it. If there's chunks of it on there, that should help ease it out. There you go.
You can pass it around if you like. Yeah, detail bone, detail finger.
Okay, note to self. Okay,
prison shank, whatever you want to call it. Whatever floats your boat.
Shank.
It's a shank.
Yeah.
But that saves your fingers,
yeah.
guys. And for getting things like vents on the interior, if you wrap a towel around that sucker, it's the most effective vent cleaner I've ever found.
So when we ask you at the end of the class, is there one thing you learned in today's class that you didn't know before you came in? You're going to tell me that, right?
Detail bone.
Fair enough.
I get the point.
We made the point. So anything else that you want to address on here so we can hit it directly? Gum.
Did you already see it?
Gum out of carpets, you want to have a gum remover. There's also certain tricks you can do. You can take what is it? The duster. The pressurized duster, turn it upside down, freeze it, and then be able to pick that off accordingly. Headliners is probably the one that I would really look at that as far as one of the ones that's so delicate, okay? Because you don't want to get overly aggressive with that, because you will, at some point in time, going to sacrifice that glue, and then that's going to start dipping down. And those are not cheap to get taken care of. You can get it taken care of at a lot of places, but why go there? Nice, easy wipe down. If you're going to use something under, you want to use like a 10-to-1 APC, something that's very, very lightly diluted, so that you can just clean it off, let it go. You don't want to oversaturate. If there's one place you don't want to oversaturate, that would be one of the places, because that will break that down. Streaky windows, man. Jesus Christ, that's the bane of every detailer. It's
Clean
like
towels.
it's the towels.
Yep.
It's kind of like I equate it to sling on tires.
Yep.
Okay, we do not put a product called sling in our tire dressing. Okay, it's all application method. I guarantee you we don't put streaks in our window cleaner, and nobody else does either. It is the towels, it is the method of using it. Easiest thing I could tell you is you do the boxing feature. You work all it in, work everything about it, work the opposite direction on the inside and or the outside. You pick your direction, okay? And that way you're not chasing your tail when you're looking for that streak. If the streak is left to right, wherever you clean left to right or finished left to right, that's where the streak is. If it's finished up and down, north and south, that's where the streak is. Don't go chasing your tail. If you do it that way, it should keep you within doing that. You want to use a dry towel, a damp towel. Okay, and then you want to finish off with a dry towel. That's going to allow the removal of all that. I find a lot of times the streaking comes on the top edges of the windows because everybody's chasing that edge. If you're not putting down the window, you're not going to get the edge. So do that, get rid of that, and then move on to the rest of the window. That's just me. Anything else on there that you want to hit?
One small caveat, so summers versus winters.
Yes.
I like to switch up my products. So in the summer, I'll use a dilutable glass cleaner because I can add more water to it. More water with a hot windshield gives me more working time. In the winter, where you're fighting the temp, you want almost pure alcohol. You'll be much better off that way. It'll react better, it cleans better. Other than that, I mean, just clean freaking towels, separate that crap.
Well, that's coming from someone who lives in a place where there is a winter and a summer. Okay, I'm from Florida. We have one. Okay, so Houston being kind of sort of similar. Yeah, it does get cold on occasion, but for the most part, you know, but it is a huge thing because when it gets really, really hot, okay, then you want to do that as well. But great tip, thank you.
It's something.
No, I heard you say last class and I forgot.
No,
That was
no
the
worries.
thing. So odor removing, pick your methods, okay? If you're masking, you're not removing odors. You're just hiding it for a couple days, and as soon as the heat hits it, they're gonna get it back, okay? So pick your method. There are foggers, there are
Odor
ozone
bombs.
machines, there's all kinds of things. Realize that when you use an ozone machine on a vehicle, if that is a current customer of yours that keeps coming back to you and they're a smoker or whatever it is, you keep using that ozone, that tends to dry out seals. So overexposure to that could cause that damage.
Also, don't
Not
breathe
that they're
it.
bad, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're using it with the precaution of knowing what it could eventually end up at.
It'll oxidize everything on the interior eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are any of you guys using hot water extractors or anything to that effect? Well, yeah, I know you guys are doing that. Just make sure you're not oversaturating. It's basically what it is. If you're doing the shampoo, I kind of sort of like a dry shampoo and then hit that afterwards. This is a rinse because it keeps you from oversaturating and adding water into that. So I use a lot of the spray or the aerosol type. Use that, dry it, and then I'll just hit that to just remove that and clean the fibers. That's kind of what I do, only because the last thing I want, especially for the ladies, okay, when they have nice expensive heels and that residue's on there and it rained and they get in that car, that tends to sharpen up and then damage their heels. You don't want a woman with damaged heels calling on you, okay? They're vicious, okay?
Or if you ruin their purse, okay?
Yeah, yeah,
They set it on a wet carpet.
Yeah, so
Louis
you
Vuitton,
want
we
to
got
make sure
issues.
those fibers are clean as possible, no residue of chemical, and dry before you turn that car into them.
100%.
We good?
Which actually, we have some really cool new tools. We just got them back in the
Yep.
States last year. They're called the Dry Pod. If you guys don't have anything for drying carpet yet,
That should be on here.
sweet, sweet upgrade. I know I
Yeah.
haven't put it on
no,
here
no,
yet.
yeah, that's all good, yeah.
I don't know that we have one up here, but basically it's a fan about yay big that you can sit right on top of the seat, and you can daisy chain up to 7 fans off of one plug. They take very low watts, so you can put one on each seat and dry that interior in 20 minutes
Yeah.
if you extract all the seats.
Yeah, if you
So-
got an SUV, it's perfect because you can actually put one on each seat, then put one on the second row. If there's a third row, you could put it on there, or the cargo area, and it works really, really cool with circulating that air out. It's really, really nice.
helps a lot, especially where you guys are so humid. I mean, you too. I mean, if you don't have airflow in a cracked window, it's just going to sit there, and eventually it's going to make a nasty, musty smell. And removing mildew is a lot harder than just cracking a window.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I mean?
And you want to get it out because it develops into mold eventually. So,
Yes.
we have anything on there?
Nope, not
Nope?
at the
Okay.
moment.
We're good. All right. Additional tools. You know, we've gone over a couple of these before. Talked about the Tornador before. Great tool. In fact, you have one of the Tornador. There's different ones. They have the ones with that canister on the bottom, and then they have the ones that are just straight up air. Those are really cool because you're not moving all this product around. The brushes for the interiors. I like to put the product on the brush and then go at it. I don't like to spray anything on the panels themselves, just because that could cause streaking and could cause staining. So I put it direct on the panel and I follow it immediately with a towel just to clean that up. The towel is typically damp because I want to pick up as much product on there without placing or leaving any residue behind with chemicals. The quick shines, those are really cool when you're looking at the vent areas and you go and you clean that off. If there's any product left in there, it could leave it a little less shiny or whatever. This helps bring that back out. It's a topical thing, but it works really, really well at being able to deliver that car as a finished product. Obviously, you want to get your good quality microfiber towels. And like I said, one of my favorite tools, man, that little iron. I love that for door panels. I especially love it for the textured leathers. That works really, really well because it gets in there. Did you have a question? Oh, okay. Chewing gum remover, as I told you before, that will dry it, that will freeze it, and it allows you to pick it up or pick on it and take it off. And obviously, microfiber towels. Again, if you'll notice, we haven't really shown any cotton terry cloth towels just because these are so cheap and so accessible everywhere. Just make sure, buyer beware, where you get it is the quality. So just read the label of what you're getting. So it gives you that. Try to get edgeless. You don't want anything that's got a stitch on there because that, if there is a scratch that's going to come out from microfiber towel, it will be the edging for the most part.
100%.
Yeah. So,
I want to throw one little thing out there. I do use cotton towels occasionally. When I'm going to wipe off my dressings, I don't want to pick it all up. I'd rather kind of push it around a little bit and pick up maybe 80% of it. Cotton does a really nice job for that stage. You can get those cotton towels at Costco, which are great. Just make sure you wash those suckers first because the amount of lint they will leave, dude, is insane.
yeah.
But
There's nothing nasty with fibers coming out of it. It's really,
so gross.
it's just really strange. So,
Especially
it's rock and roll.
sweet
So
paint.
this is the fun part. You know what paint is? Yeah, it's paint.
That's
right.
the best answer. Nice.
It's color. Okay, it's really cool. But do you understand paint? Okay. So this is a single stage example of what paint is. It's the sheet metal or the body panel. You get a little bit of primer and you get your coat, your color coat. And that's it. It stopped. There is no UV protection like a clear coat or anything to that effect. What does that do to paint? Anything from the peanut gallery?
What does the sun do to the
What
paint
does the sun
if
do to
it's
that
single
paint
stage?
if it doesn't have that protective
Yeah.
coating on there? It oxidizes.
Heck, even the atmosphere can do it.
It oxidizes.
Sitting in your garage.
Yeah. So in Florida, huge with the red cars. Man, there's nothing worse than a red whitewashed car. Okay, which looks pink. It's kind of weird. But that happens a lot. The greens, the blues. I'm going to assume the same thing here in Houston because we have very similar weather. So that's what that typically does. And then here are examples of what you would eventually find on a single stage top coat, okay? Obviously, swirl marks you're gonna find everywhere, but these are actually in the paint, okay? Keep that phrase in mind because it's a question later on, okay? The deep marring about it, okay, how deep is it? Did it get to the sheet metal, whatever? But in this situation, it will get there faster than if you have a clear coat because you have that little protective barrier, okay? And some of the other things that are typical that you're also gonna find on clear coats. So this is not exclusive to just this. And so something else to understand is how deep is it? Can you catch it? Can you catch that scratch? Are you into it so deep that now if you're gonna take a look at it this way, is it gonna look this? Okay, sometimes you're better off just rounding out the edges, minimizing that glare that gives you that swirl mark, and call it a day. Because if you get too deep, then you're looking at repaint, and we all want to avoid that. But that is generally what it is. Metal, primer step that allows the paint to adhere to the metal, and the base coat clear, and the base coat, and that's it, you're done.
Yep.
That's it.
Typically, the way we find it out if it's too deep or not, you can check it visually. If you see gray primer or white
Yeah.
or shiny metal,
Yeah.
obviously, you're not going to fix that scratch, okay? Also, if you take your fingernail and it clicks when you run it over the top, usually that means it's too deep, guys. You want to try and lighten that, polish it, but to take it out would honestly, it's going to ruin you and the paint job.
And it's going to chase your tail because you're never going to get it out. So
No.
you're going to keep looking. Like I said, detailers have a different expectation than what the customer may have. We're going to try to get that out. We're going to keep digging and not realizing, oh, geez, we're doing something bad here. So I'm just keeping that in mind.
One other thing before we move on, because it's such a convenient cross-section here. So when you look at these scratches, when we think about polishing paint, what we are doing, guys, all we're doing is we're getting lower than the imperfection, okay? So we are removing clear coat off the surface. So for scratches like swirls, great, knock them out. Light stuff like deep marring, there's an argument for both sides, you know? I mean, on one end, you can make it look really nice. On the other end, you just stole half the life out of that paint, okay? So explaining that to the customer goes a long ways. If you've got a customer that's coming in for, say, a ceramic coating, where you're going to put a true durable surface on top, doing something like removing these middle scratches, that's acceptable, okay? But anything that goes, you know, like this, Don't touch it. That's a fingernail clicker, obviously, right?
There's also
So-
something to think about here is what method are you going to be using? Are you going to be using an aggressive sanding method? Are you going to use a non or a lesser aggressive sanding method? Are you going to use a sanding method at all? So that being said, there's a guy in the industry who I respect tremendously. He's a great, we call him the Sandman, which is Jason Kilmer. You sand to improve, you don't sand to remove. Okay? You just do enough to make it look better, call it a day. Okay? And explain to the customer, you got to get into the habit of explaining to the customer that this is as far as I'm willing to sacrifice your clear coat or your protective coating, whatever it is that you're doing, and explain to them. Because if it's a hot button with them, they're gonna wanna remove that, and they may go from detailer to detailer and do that. Make sure you're not the last detailer, you're not that guy, okay? Because it could cause just an uncomfortable situation in the conversation.
I used to have a clause that if someone wanted me to sand a deep scratch out, I would make them sign a piece of paper saying, if this paint fails, this is your responsibility.
Yeah.
So having something as a backup that way, you can satisfy the customer and cover your butt legally.
Yeah.
So,
We good?
Can you explain the right side of the diagram?
oh, over here?
Oh,
So
that side, okay.
basically, these are chemical burns. So especially you guys live in an area with a lot of industry, right? So there's always smokestacks putting things in the air. Those chemicals, contaminants, pollutants, whatever you want to call them, will collect in clouds. And then next time it rains, if it hits a hot surface, there's that chemical reaction where it will eat the paint. It's called acid rain, okay? Other things, I mean, there is etching.
There's the etching, there's the ones that are into it, there's the ones that are on it. So you're
Yes.
looking at a bonded and or an above surface. Above surface or below surface contaminant or contamination or marring, whatever it is that we're looking at here. When you're looking at an above surface, that's usually a mechanical, not necessarily a heavy mechanical one. You just take that off with the clay or whatever and improve that. When it gets down into a bonded surface, now that's into the paint, not on the paint. Now we're talking about an invasive type of a procedure or a surgical type of procedure where you might get some light sanding that you're gonna have to do, a little bit more aggressive compound and or pad combination. Keep in mind that if I take this compound, but I use a different pad with it, it's gonna react differently. So understanding the products that you're using and you have at your arsenal, that is what's gonna help you determine what it is. So you can actually take this one product and make it more or lesser aggressive and to address that particular situation so you're not getting too invasive.
Yep.
That confuse you more or clear it up more? No. Okay, cool.
Nice.
Just want to make sure.
Right.
We good?
Solid? Cool.
All righty.
Perfect.
So, exterior detailing. This is where, talking about what we just spoke about. God, I wish they set up. All right. What's on and what's in. Two completely different stories, two completely different things. And how do we address this? So now we're looking at a multi-step or whatever you want to call it, but you're looking at a clear coat one. You're not looking at a single stage paint. So now you'll notice there's a lot more involved. Okay? At the end of the day, a lot of the scratches are reflections based on the color. That's why you see scratches on a black car and you don't see them as much on a white car. It's a reflection off of that that's bouncing and giving you what it is. Does that make sense? All right. So we have the actual body panel, the metal. We have the primer coat and or the primer, or they have the, what is it? They have the primer coat, then they have the etching coat. They have, sometimes it has one in there, but it boils right down into being a primer application. That basically is making sure that the paint can adhere to that metal. That's all it is. That's why they're typically gray or a light gray. Typically, you got your color coat, and sometimes you do have an additional color coat. So if you have metal flake in your paint or things of that nature, you have an additional coat on there. So you have a base, and then you have your I guess specialized paint, whatever you want to call it. That's additional color base. So it's not that deep. I mean, this looks huge.
And it's not.
Guys, this looks massive. Oh my God, there's a lot of paint on there. It really isn't. It really is not. It's thin. If you're looking at a mill being the equivalent of a Post-it note, which is about 12-pound paper on regular paper. It's not much. That's each. So if you have 4.5 or 5, that's 5 Post-it notes.
And that would be a
literally.
lot of clear coat
And
nowadays.
that's, yeah, and the clear coat is probably the thinnest of them. That one and the primer is the thinnest part of it. However, it's the one that has all the UV protection built into it and all that other kind of good, wonderful stuff. So keeping that in mind. Another thing to take a look at is if you get paint on your, because you mentioned about getting paint transfer on your pad. In today's world, they're doing now tinted clears. So you may get a car that is clear coated and you have a little bit of paint transfer. It's not going to be heavy, but it's going to be some on there. It could throw you a curveball. You may be thinking it's a single stage paint or something. It's not. So you have to know how to identify these things. Making sure about that. And then what's sitting on the surface and what's sitting in it. So overspray, easy. Clay, good to go. Knock it out, you're done. Scratch, it's inside the surface. But bird droppings, some of the industrial things that sit on top of the car that will react differently after rain hits it afterwards and the sun hits it. So understanding all of these points right here, feel free to take a snapshot, I got you, is something to take a look at. But this is what a clay does, a mechanical cleaning of the surface that's not invasive, because it's not removing clear, but it is imparting micro scratches into it when you're done. So typically you're going to polish afterwards. So what does it do? This is what it looks like, artist conception, and this is what it ends up being like. So you've cleaned the surface, now you got to go get the things that are in the surface. Some of the things that we do, iron remover, clay, clay bar, clay pad, clay mitt, all that good, wonderful stuff. A good lubricated product to use that with, okay? Car wash soap in a pinch, but car wash soap is not your friend, okay? It's really not.
Yep.
And iron remover, something to think about because that's the cool thing. It turns purple and all that kind of funky stuff. Wash the car first because that works when it hits metal or metal shavings or metal material, ferrous material. However, it doesn't do as good a job when you're doing it on a dirty surface that's got to cut through all that grease. It's not designed for that. It's designed only to react to metal. So wash it first, then apply that.
Yep.
Make sense? Sir, you had a question or a comment? That's your deal, babe. You had the PPF shop.
So in terms of polishing or paint prep, what do you mean?
Obviously, I know, like, you can't, PPF, right, you can't, it's not paint.
It is not. No, and it's much softer too. Definitely. So typically what I would recommend is going with a really fine clay and using something that has a lot of silicone. This is basically pure silicone in here, okay? So it's going to give a lot of lubrication. A lot of the PPFs nowadays are a lot hardier than they used to be, which is great. Depending on the manufacturer, you can take polish on a very light pad and breeze over it to bring back out shine. And this will give minimal scratches. But can you paint PPF? No. No, it's going to be done. And usually what you want to do is suggest that that customer put a ceramic or something on top of the PPF so it's more chemically impervious later. So, good question, though. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Why is iron remover so expensive?
Because it is pure glycolic acid. It's an insanely expensive product, man. And there's not really an alternative to what iron remover does. The glycolic acid is the only one that is pH neutral acid that will not damage the surface, but will react to metal.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel it.
And there's
50 plus a gallon, bro.
Yeah, and there's
it's
a lot.
nasty.
And there's some people that use it, or have used it in the past and use clay with it. It does deteriorate your clay. Can it be done? It has been done, but the life of that clay is shot, and you don't want to use like a whole clay bar for that. It's not advised, just because you don't really want to take anything that it could be reacting to and scratch it along the surface. That's what the clay will do eventually. That's just something to think about. it's a great first step to get rid of what clay is not going to get rid of, and then hit it with the clay, or vice versa. But you want to wash your car first. You want to use that on a surface that's been cleaned, or washed, just so that it can actually react to what it's designed to react to. So if you got anybody that lives or in the general area of railroad tracks and things of that nature, that's where you typically get a lot of that. Take a new car, find out about a new car at the dealership that got railed into that dealership and put that on there. You'd be surprised at how much is on the sides. You'd be amazed at how much metal is on the sides. Only because it's railed in, metal on metal, all that stuff goes up and it's hot. So something to think about.
Sticks right in.
Yep.
Think of it like little splinters, man. The hotter the paint is, the more the paint has its pores open, which means it's easier for things to get embedded into it, and metal is just sharper and easy to get into. So, one final thing before we move on to paint polishing. The reason we stress this so much is because if you do your wash process and you still have all this left over, your pad is going to pick up all those contaminants and scratch the crap out of the car. Okay, so you really have to do this process if you're going to polish. If you're not going to polish and it's just a wash, they don't want to pay for it, don't do it.
No.
So,
Setting the level of expectation that the detailer wants to always give more than actually is being paid for. So that keeps your costs in point.
now keep in mind, we do subsections, like more specific courses for all of these different topics. So if you guys want, we're going to do a polishing course. I don't know if it'll be next month or the one after,
I think
but
it's the
it'll
one
go
after.
way more in depth.
I think it's the one after, if
after?
I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the next one might be interior or something then.
I believe the next one is interiors. Bruno and Zach will be doing the next one.
That's
So
right.
don't
Which
miss
that's a
us.
great course, guys.
Yeah, it is
if you want to
really
learn
cool.
about
Yeah, it's
interior
really
stain
cool.
removal.
Especially because it's an area that a lot of us don't want to do. So
Exactly. Yeah, it's a nightmare. So I'll try and breeze through this real quick for you guys. There's 3 different actions that you'll run into when it comes to machines. The oldest is going to be rotary machines. Essentially, they are grinders. They were made for a factory setting to grind down things like concrete, stone, any other surface, right? So they're great for cutting, but they are terrible for finishing because they will always leave behind, unless you're the best of the best, but you will always leave behind some kind of hologram or mark, some kind of swirl, okay? The one in the middle, we call that a gear-driven machine. So this is kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none. You can get really good cut, you can get really good polish out of it, but it's not going to be the best at cutting and it's not going to be the best at finishing, okay? If I had to pick one machine, that's probably where I would start because it gives you a 7 out of 10 in all categories. Whereas the one up top, that is what's called a random orbit dual action polisher, okay? They are terrible at cutting, but they're awesome at finishing out a surface. So if you have black cars, blue cars, red cars, things with really deep paint, that's typically the last machine I'll use on that surface, okay? In a perfect world, if you have all the money, get all 3, guys, honestly. Because there's going to be days where you run into a car, like some redneck like me goes off into the woods, does that pinstriping down the side with all the scratches, and you end up either sanding it or you need a rotary to actually cut that. If you try and use the random orbit to remove those scratches, you will be on that truck for 3 days, okay? With a rotary, it might take you half a day, let's say. But if you start with the rotary, finish with a polishing machine. Don't finish with that. Don't be like a body shop, okay? They leave swirls for us. We don't want to leave that for other people.
and there's a method to the madness, guys. There's one tool to actually, there's a tool you really want to learn with. Okay, you really want to get proficient at some point in time, and that is a rotary. Not speaking for the old school guys, but it is an art form. So by all means, get friendly with your local body shop, go pick up a panel, and just go at it. Just go have fun, knock it out, burn it, do whatever you can. It's a bad panel anyway that we're going to pitch. Go ahead, do that. Go to a junkyard, pick up a hood or a door or a trunk lid, put it on a stand, and just have at it, okay? Just literally do whatever you want with it. Use all kinds of product. It is a phenomenal tool to cut with. It cuts down time. It makes you more efficient because it gets you to the bottom line as to where you want to go faster. Then the DA step or anything afterwards it's just going to be butter. It's going to be so much smoother. So just something to think about. When it comes to the dual action polishers, keep in mind that there are different throws. There's different actions on there. So the lower the action, in other words, the smaller the millimeter throw, the more it's polish. It's not going to cut. Okay? The longer the throw is going to finish much faster. So you're looking at the best of both worlds. Like you said, the gear driven is typically an 8 millimeter. It's going to give you a little bit of better and a little bit of that, and it's going to be fine. When you get into the dual action polishers that have different throws, they're going to perform accordingly. I personally, my favorite tool when it comes to a dual action polisher is actually the Rubez 12 millimeter. That gets me anything I want to do. I can actually sand with it. I can cut decently, and I can actually end up polishing differently. That's my general overall tool. That's me personally. You will have to pick whichever one you like. What I do like about these things is that they allow for a lot of different factors. I can get 1-inch pads all the way to 6-inch pads. When it comes to a rotary, I can get an 8-inch pad or a 9-inch pad when you're looking at the industrial or body shop world. It's a very versatile set of tools and understanding all of them. And as you get time, fool around with them. Get whatever you have in your arsenal and learn the machine. Learn what it does for you, okay? Because that's what's gonna help you really step up your game as far as your quality of finish before you hand it back to the customer.
Yeah, and if you're new starting out in this, you should always have at least one big polisher and one small polisher, because there's always going to be spots. You shouldn't attempt to polish with a 6-inch polisher, like under the door handles, certain parts on the grill. I did it all the time, bro. Don't get me wrong. I did it for a long time.
Yeah, you're doing this looking for the angle, and it's never there.
Yeah, you're smacking the door handle over and over. It's not great.
Another thing to think about as well, guys, is understanding the movement of the machine. So when you're using a rotary polisher, the product is going to be spit out because it only goes in one direction. So anytime you get to a point where you're applying too much product and you start spraying, okay, and you got that stripe, and especially around here, it's really interesting. That is a rotary, and it's going to spit it out. So when you apply your product, you want to typically apply it a little more towards, like, if you look at a clock face, around 10 o'clock, like right here, so that when it goes into the pad, it stays in there, right around that second stripe, okay? When you're looking at, when you're talking about a dual action polisher or even a gear-driven polisher, because they're typically DAs, okay? Whenever you put the product on those, you're gonna put the product on the pad. On a rotary, typically you're gonna put it on the paint and pick it up, okay? That's the old school way, okay? But on a dual action polisher, it's gonna bring the product inside. It's gonna bring it towards the middle rather than spit it out. So make sure you're applying it a little towards the outside, because once you start the machine, it'll bring it and then cover the whole pad, okay? That's just something to think about. It's not gonna spit it out. It's gonna bring it to the center. So when you're applying your product, you wanna keep it typically away from the center of the pad when you're applying it on the pad, only because it starts to delaminate eventually when you have over saturation of product. It's bringing it into the middle. Just something to think about.
Totally. Perfect. Any questions up to now? Yes, go ahead.
So, I mean, I know usually you have your 2-step or your 3-step. So obviously if you do a 2-step, I mean, you get it with your rotary and maybe your GA. Say you do a 3-step, I mean, would you do your rotary and then what would be on the second one?
Usually if I'm doing a 3-step, it's gonna be a rotary and then 2 DA.
Yep.
Just to get a finer result. You know, I like to call it a jeweling polish. I know some people hate that, some people, he's a hater, obviously. Everyone does their thing, but typically in the polishing world, we charge by stage. So, you know, if you're gonna do 3 stages, that's usually towards the upper end of what people will want, and you're gonna be charging them like $600 minimum, I would say. But
Is that something you do
it
a
varies.
lot in your market?
Yes,
A lot of 3-steps?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's
Don't
wild,
call me
man.
sir, man. It makes me feel old. Just call me, yeah. That's it, we're good.
Let's do a 3-step sanding, cutting, and polishing.
No, you're actually looking at 3-step. What would you? What's your 3-step offering?
Depends how deep you go.
What do you offer in a 3-step?
Usually it really just depends on how bad the scratched up it is. And I usually do a hard, the
A
foam.
heavy cutting compound.
The heavy, the medium, and then the fine. So that's usually what I would.
And your application on the heavy is with a foam pad, or is it with a wool pad, or a hybrid?
Like, it depends on how much it is. If it's more of like it's pretty bad, then I'll hit it with the wool.
Okay.
And obviously, if it's there but not too bad, I'll hit it with the foam.
On the rotary
Nice.
itself as a second step, or as a follow-up? Okay. Makes sense?
Yeah,
No,
that works.
That's kind of like the typical high-end body shop application when you're looking at some of your custom paints. So a three-step, I've always looked at it from a standpoint is I'm going to hit it with a rotary with a wool pad, heavy cut compound. Then I'm going to soften it up into a polish depending on the clear, if it's hot, if it's hard, soft, if it's a hot one where it's like you really got to get into it with heat, or if it's going to be more of a mechanical cut or a chemical cut, depending on what that is. What am I using? So usually do wool, rotary. You can do wool. So you can do rotary and a softer middle polishing foam pad.
Is that for your second one?
That would be for my second one, depending on the polish I'm using. And then on the body shop world, the glaze side, then you do a finishing pad with a DA. You can do it with a really, really jeweling speed on the rotary.
I'm converting him bit by bit. I'll break your walls down.
But that's labor. That's going to be one of
Yeah.
the things you're going to be on there. Is it worth your time? Are you going to pay for it? It's intense. Yeah, 3 steps. Man, I've noticed, or I've seen, that a lot of people 2-step, and then they go directly to your last step, whether it's a coating or a sealant or whatever, is the sweet spot. The 3rd step, that's labor of love, and you better be getting paid for it, because that's just you babying that. And that's not for a guy who's doing a daily driver. That's a guy who keeps it in his garage, or they take it out on the weekends. They used to go to the local, the Fuddruckers car meetup or something like that. Something like that, really.
Yeah,
seriously.
totally. Yeah.
3 steps is really, it's not a thing of the past, don't get me wrong, but it's a thing that a lot of people are getting away from, because the quality of the finish that you get from some of these new compound formulations and or pad combinations get you there faster.
Well, usually, like I said, like you said, those are more for the ones that like baby their cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And usually the ones for the daily ones that are looking for a cleaner look, it's just usually
Right, Papa, 1 step y pa afuera.
Exactly, yeah. Que salga.
I mean,
Yeah.
in and out, because that's getting paid for that. They want it to look nice, but I'm not taking it to the car show on the weekend. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, the only time I've ever done like 3 stages would be when the paint is really soft, like a Cadillac, Tesla black paint, stuff like that.
Huh?
What's that?
GM Black.
Oh, GM black, man.
That's
The
always
worst
fun.
black on the market. I hate it. But you know what? If you don't do that final step just right and then finish out with the world's softest towel, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I've scratched it with soft towels before, man. So.
You brought the pads out. Any particular
Yeah,
reason?
I mean, I just figured. I know we are overtime, and I don't want to stress you guys out on your schedules. Don't want to stretch it too much. But let's hit a few more points. So there are a couple of different styles of pad. So you've got wool, which this one actually has a little foam interface too. There are some that are pure wool, and those are typically the heaviest cut. Then you go to microfiber in most cases, which they give a heavy cut. You either love or hate microfiber. Personally, I hate it. It's just not for me. It doesn't always work out well. This would be the pure wool. This is a rotary style. Pass these around to you guys. The most important thing for identifying, is this a cutting pad or a polishing pad? First off, wool almost always is going to be a cutting pad. Squeezing the foam, or whatever it's made out of, the harder that is, the more it cuts. The softer it is, the more it's going to polish, okay?
By the way, I love microfiber pads.
You see, everyone's different, dude. I hate them with a
love 'em.
passion. Oh, I like the McGuire's version. I'll give you that.
You can lead me over to the jeweling side. I'll lead you over to the microfiber side, because
That's fair.
There is an inherent benefit to it to some degree.
Yes, and it heats up really well, and it does give a nice finish, but I found that it's a little bit more finicky for me, car to car, I guess. But
Makes sense.
one thing I want to throw out there for you guys, when it comes to product, one of the things you got to understand is less is more. So when you're applying your compound or polish, there's two things you need to know. If it's wool, you need to actually manually spread that around yourself. It's not going to apply itself to the whole pad just with dots, okay? So typically, put your 4 dots, your 3 dots on there, spread it with a finger, spread it with whatever you have in your pocket, like a brush, okay? If it is foam, you can just put dots, it'll spread itself. You really don't want to do more than, I would say, 3 dots. That's aggressive if you're going more.
Yeah.
It depends on the car, though. If it's
Well,
a heavy
it also
cut,
depends on your pad. So one of the
Squirt it on.
tricks that I learned from a guy I really respect, I'm not going to mention names or companies, whatever.
Sure.
It's 1 inch per pad size. So if you got a 6-inch pad, properly spaced, a little dot, 6 dots on a 6-inch.
pea size.
5 dots on a 5-inch. However, on a 3-inch, only 2 dots because of the action of the machine. So that's where it throws you the curveball.
That's actually a
You
pretty
know?
good way to think about
And
it. I like
that's
that.
what the guy taught me, and I was like, you know what? This makes all the sense in the world. I've come from the old school where we lay down a stripe and we pick it up in a nice, really cool way with the rotary, and it looks really nice on camera,
Fancy.
but it can get really messy if you don't pick it up right. So where I came from, you were using stripes, and we were not placing everything up off the paint. Whereas now it's more, because of the quality of the products, you didn't put that much, like you put on a stripe, like a 4-inch stripe, and then you pick it up. Now it's just the dots because the quality of the products that are being produced and the quality of the pads. If you're not thinking about foam quality of pads, it's huge what that world is and how they have to come back and match it up with the compound. So that being said, that's where this whole dot thing came from, that it just allows it to spread nicer and easier. So it's, it's go out there, use your product on everything, never on a customer's car. Unless it's always
Until you know what you're doing. Yep.
Always on yours or some panel you got at the junkyard, never on a customer's car. And then that way you can get the feel of what now you can offer as your 2-step. Because obviously everything has to do with the paint, but at the end of the day, you develop a step where you can always change on the fly, but you got a form. You have an idea what you want to do, and that's your process. And if you can, write it down, commit it to memory, because you don't want to forget, oh, what did I use in that thing? Oh, doggone it. Do that. It's going to help you in the long run. It really is. I write down everything that I do. We're meetings, or I'm always constantly writing. Those are some of the things I'll come up with. And, oh, what did I do there? I always go back and have a point of reference.
Perfect. What do we got left?
There we go. 1-step buffing. So, are you always going to get the best result the first time you polish? Never. Never, ever, ever. So let's say you're going to do a test spot. What would you do to do a test spot? To find out what process you're going to use. I'm not trying to pick on you.
I guess just do a little square and see how it looks after that.
Little square, how big, roughly?
Not very big either, because then obviously we don't like it.
Cool. So I'm going to throw you a curveball. So that didn't work. What do you do next? It didn't, that's not the result I was trying to get.
You're only shooting for the 1 step, huh?
You're doing a test spot. I'm not telling you what to do, or you just want to
In
do a
your
test spot.
process.
So if you do a test spot on this size right here, okay? You know what? I can make it better, or it's not going to work for me. What are you doing next?
I guess getting it again with that.
You're going to do it again. Are you going to do it
job.
in the same spot? No. You're going to do it in the next spot, or something similar, because that didn't work on that spot. So I'm not going to improve that spot. I want to see what's going to be my first step or whatever on this spot. So you test spot, it isn't so big. It's like, 12 by 12, whatever, and then you do your next test spot if that didn't work on the subsequent side. Because if you're trying to find that one, you can't do it on the same one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so just keep that in mind as a way to do that. So another thing that we said earlier, maybe less is best. least aggressive method before you move on. You can always move up. It's hard to backtrack. It really is. So keeping that in mind. Best thing to do when what you're trying to do is preserve. You're trying to keep all things consistent, okay? So you're not trying to kill off the clear coat of the vehicle. You want to preserve it as much as possible. How do you do that? By not being as invasive. So least aggressive method is what's going to get you there. It might be a cleaner polish that gets you there rather than a compound. Go that way, okay? Go that way. It's better to do it that way. If the customer wants more, you always have that one option to move up. You don't have to move back off of that, if that makes any sense. What machine are you going to use? Okay, this is where you pick the machine. What's the one that you have is the best machine you got to use. That's it. Don't go out there and buy it for a job unless someone's paying you for it, okay? Go out and get the machine that best works for your needs and not your wants, because everybody's wants is different than their needs, but get one that works for your business and makes sense to your business to get the job done. Okay, if it's a $7,000 machine, dude, go get it. If it's a $400 machine, go get it. If it's a $50 machine, that's the one that works, do it. But just learn to master all your machines that you have at your disposal. That's the best machine you could possibly have. It's the one you have on hand, not the one you got to go get. Does this make any sense? Different types of batteries or application methods. I happen to love corded machines. I love to gun it and hit it right off the bat. I don't want to wait. I also don't want to wait to go change batteries. That's not me. I just like that. Other guys, on the other hand,
They have less power too. I don't like less power.
Yeah, some of them, they start dying down. Oh, shoot. Oh, I didn't. You know what? I had a bad connection. The battery didn't charge. Now I'm screwed. I got to go do something else. Give me a corded polisher any day. However, battery technology has gotten way better. Okay? So you have different machines, different opportunities to do that. For you mobile guys, and all you guys are mobile, so that's a cool thing. You're the ones who have a shop. Just get plenty of batteries and have them charged at all times. Understanding the fact that the more you charge your battery, it's kind of like your phone, the batteries degrade, okay? But you need to have those available, and that is the best tool for you in certain aspects, just because you can take it and just take it anywhere. You don't have to be lugging around cords and all that kind of good, wonderful stuff. But every machine that we have spoken about today, including the little pixies and things of that nature, all of these machines have an option, and all of them have an electric option. The Pixie does not necessarily have an electrical option. However, the Rupes side does. So the charger that you put on there, you can actually take a battery and put it in there. So that's a pretty cool option. But make sure you have the one option that works for your business setup. That's the best one.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever fits your process best and your budget, because that's always part of it.
Anything? Hands-on lesson is the other class, like we had mentioned before. So I know that that's a thing there, but that's for the next class. This is not that class. All right?
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. We didn't mean to cheat you, but we get you back again at some point in time.
It's a very in-depth topic. You can't do it in one day. Let's be honest. Yeah, you just
really
can't.
is not. So.
Well, the final thing, guys, well, not the final. There are 6 stages, but basically the last thing you're going to be putting on the car is the sealants and the dressings, okay? And this is a big area where you can upcharge your customers. You've already quoted them on one thing, so every little added service you can do, it's not really going to add much time to put, shine that's in a sprayable form versus a wipe-on form, or one that has a dye built in, but if you can charge $50 more, why not? You know what I mean? So in this case, we've got fabric sealants, leather conditioners, we have windshield sealants. You have options to range from wax, polymer, ceramic coatings. There's a litany of different upgrades that you can do, but the goal is to call up the customer, let them know, hey, your car's almost ready. I did notice A, B, C, and D that could be improved. This is what it would cost for this, this, and this. Would you be interested in any of those, okay? But basically, this is just the spit and shine moment where you're gonna put shine on the car. It's gonna be your interior dressing, your tire shine, and your exterior shine post-polishing. It's pretty dang simple.
Yeah. Quick question.
Any questions?
How do you like your tires? Shiny or not?
I like with the new look, not too shiny.
Not too shiny. What do you like? I just out of curiosity. Yeah, yeah. What do your customers like? Do you they like shiny, or did you ask them if they like shiny? You just assumed. So
That's a
literally, you make their cars shiny as well because you like shiny, or do you ask them to see if they want it? Out of curiosity.
Like you're asking about like the customer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ask them, I just
Get into the habit of asking. Some of them might not like that, and it could be a generational thing or whatever. We have these discussions when we're product testing here. We test here every month that we come in. Okay, I hate shiny. I like the natural look, and other guys like. Some of the other guys on staff, they like the shiny, and we're like, I don't like it. Well, why don't you like? Get into the habit of asking them, because that just goes towards that customer thing and being able to keep them as a customer, because now you're taking an interest in their car. And you're writing it down, you have it committed to memory, you have it committed to your record. Now you know what they like. Some people like the natural, some people like the mid. Dial it in, get a product or a couple of products that allow you to do that for either one of them. Understand your products. Sometimes your water-based dressings or whatever, if you apply it, it dries, and then you apply it again, it will bring up the shine. You don't have to really buy another one. I mean, get into the habit of asking them. That's the reason why I asked you, because you gave them what you like. Yeah. A lot of times, it might be a situation where like, oh yeah, it looks great. Oh, it's shiny, but it's not what they wanted.
Yeah,
So
you might be doing extra steps that you
that
don't
way
need
you're
to do.
delivering to them
Yeah.
what they want.
Exactly. If they want to shine, you just save money. You just save the whole step.
Exactly.
Same thing with like, if you're talking about preferences, ask them about what smells they like, bro. Do
Yeah.
you want a leather scent? Do you want like a flower scent, a fruit scent, whatever, Any customization is going to make them feel special.
Yeah.
So.
Look at the headlights, guys. Another thing, that's a huge opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And when you do something to sell that, you sell it based on safety. Especially, no offense here, but especially to women, because they're the ones that are typically driving the kids to school and picking them up from soccer practice. Safety. Safety allows them to understand that, hey, you know what? You may not be seeing as well when the sun comes down. So that's a great thing to address when you come looking at that. Okay, something to take a look at. Your trims and things of that nature, like I said, or like we've said before, we didn't put sling in the chemical makeup of our tire dressings. Okay, and neither did any other company. Apply it correctly so you don't get those slings. We don't put streaks in the glass cleaner. This is when you're looking at all these things that you're putting in there. And I'm trying to make fun of it because it's one of those things that we run to every time. We go do a class anywhere, and everybody says, oh, the tire slings. Really? Okay, how did you apply it? So be able to apply it, tamp it down, make sure it's completely tamped down. Don't put it in the grooves or in the tread. That's where the sling comes from. And believe it or not, and I don't have one here, but when you're looking at the tire, where the tire meets the rim and it collects down here, that's where your sling comes from, because it's collected down there. You didn't tamp that down. You didn't wipe that off. So that collection in there that you don't see, but you see after they drive off, that's where it collects. So just a couple of tips to go on there as far as dressings, because those are things that we see in every class. And every time you talk to a detailer, man, your tire shine slings. I'll go talk to the chemist about that formula. Didn't know that, but so it's something to think about, sir.
What's a strong, not too strong, because obviously wheel materials when they're having, because obviously we have customers who probably like the plastic dip their wheels, right?
Ooh, yeah.
They don't have, they might not have done a good amount of coats to where you're trying to get that plastic dip out, but you don't want it something so strong to where it's actually damaging or taking from the actual.
So you're trying to remove it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Jeez.
I mean, I would probably reach for a solvent.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'd probably go with
definitely.
delimonene product like our Gold Power or citrus tar and gum.
Yeah.
If you let that sit for like 2 minutes, it should pressure wash right off.
But not acid, because you don't want the acid to sit. So you want
No.
something like that.
Right.
That would be about the safest acid I would use. That oxalic-based delameline would be the harshest one I would ever even consider putting under to let dwell.
Yeah, exactly.
be honest
And
with you.
it also doesn't evaporate as quickly, being more of a citrus solvent versus
Correct.
a standard.
Yep.
The longer it sits, the more it penetrates into the actual stuff.
Cool.
So,
If you don't have a customer that's going to be coming around, and I just saw this last point there, but something to think about. If you have a customer you're not going to see that often, you know that they're going to come every 3 weeks and rather than every other week or whatever, you can give them a home care kit, the car. One of the cool things is a little, like a detail spray in case they get bird droppings. Okay, because a lot of people, they're like, I want to park under the shade, so they'll park under the tree, not thinking, oh, geez, all the birds are going to poop all over my car. So here's a way to keep it clean. That way you don't have to
bit of
go.
this.
Yeah, that way you don't have to go and have to take that out when they come to you, because chances are it's going to etch by the time it gets back to you. So it helps them, throw a little microfiber towel in there. They're down to under $1 in some cases.
so cheap.
Throw a microfiber towel in there. Hey, look, while you're out there, whatever, if you run into something, it's a good feel. It's a cool thing to differentiate you from the other.
And you
I
can
didn't
brand all those things too.
Huh?
You can brand all those things.
Oh, yeah,
the
you can
air
put your own
scent
little sticker.
deals.
Yeah, go to Vistaprint. You can actually do your own little sticker on it and put it on there. Make sure you have the SDS sheets from the original manufacturer, though. When you do that,
actually.
no, seriously,
Yeah,
because
have
I'm not kidding, but you can do that as well. Okay, that way it's just something you're giving to the customer. It doesn't cost you any money, and especially you have like a mixing station or whatever, and you're diluting something, or if it's a dilutable, or if it's a cheap enough detailer spray, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, that bottle's probably 15 to 20 bucks, and if you're filling a 4-ounce bottle, it's going to make 40 plus samples, something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah, and
it goes a long ways.
You're giving them 6 ounces, or not doing anything, and those bottles are pretty cheap, so
Totally.
something to think about. Final inspection, guys. So we've come to the end. You're returning the car to the customer. We've done the 5 steps. This is kind of like your 6, 5.5, 6, whatever. Final inspection. In your situation, have her do the final inspection. She probably has a better eye for any detail that we do. They just pick stuff out. Women pick stuff out that we don't even think about. They're
Pretty
the
true.
best. I'm serious as a heart attack.
It is true.
Okay?
Especially on interiors.
Yeah.
You guys
Oh,
have an
yeah.
eye for stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So have her do the final inspections and sign off on all your sheets. Guys, get into the practice of really looking at everything, but especially what their hot button was. If you got rid of their hot button, you're good to go. If you didn't get rid of their hot button, you know what? You have to make it right. You have to talk to them. You have to whatever. The car looks great here, but does it look great from back here? Okay? 20 feet, they all look good. 10 feet, they change. Up close, they change even more. Make sure that it looks consistent across the board. That's what's going to help you get that, that final detail basically to where they want it, to what they were looking for, what they were expecting.
Yeah, and if you can step back too, it kind of resets your brain,
Yeah.
guys. Because if you think about it, you've been staring at this car for 4 hours. You're done with it. You hate the car. You're sick of the paint. The freaking wheels took 2 hours. All the frustration, it's bottled up. You want to get it out of your shop. But if you step back, take a squat, you'll notice like where the dressing misses at the bottom of the tire, for example. Or you'll notice you missed wax under the bumper, something like that.
If you're going to look at the sides, like you said, squat, and if you look at it, like you kind of sort of see how the light plays on it, you'll see that this consistent delivery across, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But don't look at the big picture. Look at the little ones. Look at the tire. Did you roll the car back 5 or 6 inches so you can get every piece of that tire? Okay, did you roll the window down 1.5 inches or so you can get that top thing? Because if they put the windows down and they got a they got a crud line on there, trust me, you didn't do a good job. It's perception. Perception is reality, unfortunately. We're in that business. All these little things, the little things are the ones that are going to really stand out to them, much more so to us. Because we're looking at, man, I polished that car and it came out amazing. And they didn't care about that, man. They wanted to see that that window was clean.
That's where they sit the whole time,
Yeah,
guys.
the cup holder, you left that little piece there. They didn't get caught because you just swiped it. You didn't go back and do a second wipe. Those are the things they're going to pick out. We're going to pick out the cool stuff. Man, that paint came out amazing. They don't care. So just keep that in mind. Your checklist allows you to make sure that you have touched everything that the conversation that took place when you were taking the car in, they brought up. The hot buttons. That's what it's all about. If you take care of the hot buttons, you've taken care of them.
Yep. Any questions, guys? That's kind of the whole
Comments,
enchilada.
questions,
We've got it all
concerns?
wrapped up now. So, nothing? Hey, nice.
All right, man.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
What up, team?
All right. That's the best class yet. No, I'm
Yeah, I know, right? So we will have more classes next month.
Yeah, I believe in preliminary talks last night, I think they were talking about interiors. That's a huge class. It really makes a big difference on cars, believe it or not, as much as we hate to do them. Don't know what the subsequent classes are. Check the website. We will be posting it on there to let you guys know with plenty of notice. Maybe send the other two guys, at the next class as you have opportunity to do so. If you guys get new employees, send them in. And if you, see the value in this, the guys from Miami, you're not going to send anybody else in because you're doing the work yourself. So I get it.
Yeah, they run their own trainings.
Yeah. But honestly, we are here to help. If you're probably not going to get one of us on the phone because we cover different areas. We're not from here. But your source of information immediately is Bruno at the store. He is hugely knowledgeable, knows everything about all of our products. He understands the industry and knows how to run this and knows how to do the processes. So that's something to think about. For you guys online, reach out to us at Stinger Chemical, whether it's on our Facebook group or on our Instagram. Put the questions up as we put posts up there, just because we're here to help you and make sure that we understand what your concerns are so we can address them.
Yeah.
This class is going to be short today. We have a lot of stuff going on at the Hive here. So this class is typically a little bit shorter because it's not as intense as some of the other ones where we're doing hands-on. Just because, and it just worked, unfortunately, this way with the timing. But typically, we are here to do classes for you guys and to address your concerns and the things that you do and run into on your business. So reach out to us. Let us know if we're doing our job, if you got anything out of this. I think just a questionnaire that the people locally here have, if you could fill that out for us, just to let us know how this benefited you or not, because that's what's going to help us improve on what our delivery is going forward.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep, that's
I'm
great.
cool.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for coming and thanks for spending the time. We really hope you learned something today. Thank you to the YouTube subscribers that showed up today. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we see you guys next month. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you.